Welcome to Meadowbrook Memories Podcast. I am Jelly, otherwise known as Glester Prince, and my co-host is Hitchcock, otherwise known as Alfred Henry. Our mission on this podcast series is to explore the stories behind the magic that was created at Meadowbrook. When over a span of 4 years, between 1982 and 1986, we saw the transformation of a small co-educational school with less than 1,200 students, 800 boys, 800 girls and 400 boys into a successful sports and scholastic champion, winning 7 major trophies, 3 Sunlight Cup, 2 Topping Cup, 1 Walker Cup, and 1 Nutriment Shield. And to crown these achievements, Meadowbrook also produced 2 Rhodes Scholars, Cavell Creighton in 1987 and Andrea Wright in 1989, both graduates of Meadowbrook in 1983. In this podcast series, we'll be speaking to persons, both males and female, who were actively involved in this incredible journey, along with friends and staff at Meadowbrook, which inspired the environment which created this golden era. We hope you enjoy our discussion. Please give us as much support and encouragement as you can on whatever social media platform you are listening. Welcome and thanks for joining us. Alright, ready? So, remember to like, share, and subscribe these Meadowbrook Memories podcasts so neither you nor your friends will miss another memorable conversation. Thanks. Go. Today is Sunday, February 18, 2023, and welcome back to another conversation about Meadowbrook Memories. Me, as usual, Glester, our Lance, our Prince, our Jelly, and by now, you know, say any one of those names will do. My co-host this week is a man who I call the best night watchman who ever come to Meadowbrook, because when him get a chance to join this conversation, him not say no, and him not give him wicked. So welcome back, Dante, our Greg. Only can go listen to Dante, Meadowbrook Memories, on episode number 5, and subscribe to the channel while you're listening to Dante Memories. Our guest today, I have to give a proper introduction, because I consider him one of the silent giants of Meadowbrook who have quietly and consistently given back to our beloved Meadowbrook throughout the years as president of the Canadian chapter of the Meadowbrook High School alum. And I, for one, am very grateful for our guests for keeping the Meadowbrook light shining throughout the years without much fanfare. When people like me, when people like me look like we're there witness protection and forget about them school. So big honor to our guests to keep the torch glowing throughout the years. And we're hoping this conversation will bring out all of the Meadowbrook people who now witness protection, like I was, to step up and start giving back to the school. Because the light never out because a man like our guest today. Our guest started in Meadowbrook in 1978 and graduated in 1983, and he had a love for track and field, football, cricket and basketball. But his greatest love for Meadowbrook is giving back to our school. Anyway, the man there for tell him one story. So without further ado, Meadowbrook members welcome Wayne Swaby to this conversation. Introduce yourself, Wayne.
Thanks, Prince. Thanks. Welcome to Dante again. Wayne Swaby, as you said, class of 83. It's a pleasure to be here to share my memories of Meadowbrook. Looking forward to the conversation, my brothers.
Yeah, man. And Dante, reintroduce back yourself, my brother.
Yeah, man. Dante, Tegre, Donovan Thomas. You know, any one of those names will do. It's a pleasure again to be here. You know, always good to be on these calls with on these podcasts with people like Wayne, you know, one of my inspirations. A man that I have learned a lot from, especially as it regards to organizations and putting things together for, you know, in support of Meadowbrook, you know, after we left, you know. So it's a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, a lot of respect to you, my brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, thank you, Dante, thank you. And Wayne, by now, you know, the first question we ask everybody who come on them conversation, you know, did you choose Meadowbrook or Meadowbrook chose you?
Man, I definitely chose Meadowbrook. Absolutely chose Meadowbrook. I had a choice of Meadowbrook or Den. I think I thought about Calabar, but not because I wanted to go to Calabar, but just because of proximity to home. But Meadowbrook has always been a first choice for me, and I was very happy. As a matter of fact, when we looked at the Gleaner, when the exam results came, we looked for my name under Meadowbrook because that's where I expected it to be.
So why you did have a love for Meadowbrook before you even got there, Wayne?
So my brother actually attended Meadowbrook before us, right? Anthony Swaby.
Mm-hmm.
So he was in the class with, certain people like Bovell Blake and Donna Dixon, Weston Cole, Donovan Carr.
Okay.
And yeah, so he would come home, and I think he was one of the guys who quiet at home but troublemaker at school, it seems, right? But
yeah.
so he would come home and share some really funny stories, you know what I'm saying? And as younger brothers, you sit down and you listen to your big brother telling you all these stories, really some silly stories at times too, right? I remember one particular story about this teacher. I think Donovan Carr mentioned it. I think her name was Mrs. Bartlett. This lady who came from a different country and was trying to teach English.
Yeah, I think to come from Bangladesh or something like that. Yeah,
exactly. Right. So he was in his own element, imitating the way the lady spoke and everything. And that was something that, you kind of wanted to witness yourself, right? And he had these crazy stories about them, going through Havendale and stupid stories, blindfolding themselves, trying to cross the street. I wonder if Donovan Carr would remember that. Blindfold and cross the street, just stupid things. But the stories that they told about Meadowbrook and the sports day and the football teams and everything, it was so clear in your head that I kind of wanted to experience it myself.
You want to come see some of the fun there?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Definitely. It was a lot of fun stories.
So you started Meadowbrook with another brother, Wayne?
I did. So I passed common entrance in grade 5, and my brother Michael, he passed in grade 6.
Okay,
so both of us,
yeah.
Because some people, based on your age, you could do common entrance in grade 6 as well. So I did it in grade 5, he did it at grade 6. So we came into Meadowbrook at the same time from New Day all age. So a lot of people were trying to figure out which one of us was older. He was actually a year older than me, even though he's a shorter guy.
Yeah. And I think, my memory serves me right, Wayne, is like, when you go 5th grade, I was at Pembroke, a 2 chance you go to take a common entrance. In a 5th grade, you take it. And I suppose age have a lot to do it, and then you can take it in a 6th grade as well.
Right.
That's correct.
So you get 2 chances. And some people, if they're young enough and bright enough, will probably end up with 3 chances. I think
right.
One of those, Dante, you take it early.
Yeah, take it early too. Well,
was it grade 4, Dante, for you?
No, man, 5.
But you're still grade 5.
No, actually grade 6.
Okay.
But I was young for the class that I was in.
Okay.
Yeah, common entrance is like a age thing and a grade thing. So yeah. And you say you was living near Calabar, Wayne, or you went and you got Barbican. That's New Day College is at Barbican, right?
So New Day College is at it's between, I would say, Grandspent and Barbican. It's at Dulwich Drive, right?
Yeah.
So where we lived we actually lived on Shartwood Road. I don't know if you know Shartwood Road well, but there's a church called Elam Gospel Hall. And we actually live next door to the church.
Oh, you
so
live
there
next door to the church?
Yeah, we live next door to the church. And there were a couple of people who lived in that neighborhood as well, People like Byron Nunes lived up the street.
Okay.
Dino Meredith, Denise Walsh, Hitchy Burke, Delroy Jackson, Delrose Quelo. We all took the bus at the same stop. The 13 bus. All Meadowbrook people.
Yeah. I didn't know that at all. I didn't know so much on the live up a shot at all, Wayne.
Yeah, man, quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, joke. Dino is here, right? You know Dino Meredith, right? Martin Meredith.
Yeah, man, I know Dino too, man. Yes.
So Dino and I were having a conversation just last year, December, I think it was. And this is when I knew the man lived up at that street, just up the street from me. The man went to Meadowbrook, claim he took bus at the same stop with us, and I've never seen him. I've seen him play man in golf, but I've never seen him at that stop. I had no idea he lived up there, but he was apparently in that same little street with Byron and Robert Johnson and Denise Walsh and the rest of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you know, you used to live in Orlando a year too, you know? And I meet when I come here.
Yes.
I'm back in Canada now. That's why the year. That's why you see him win in Canada.
Yeah, man, he's a part of our group now in Canada.
Okay, good. Heal him up from when you see him. Yes, because he was living in Orlando here for a little time when I just came here. I didn't even go back to Canada. He was one of them man who make the reverse trip, Dante, from the warm to Orlando into the cold of Canada.
Miss the weather, you know?
Brave. Yes, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So where you come with the first? So you didn't know where Meadowbrook did then? Wayne, you have an idea where Meadowbrook was because did you ever visit the campus before you come on?
I think I might have had the opportunity to view one of the sporting like a sports day at Bottom Field.
Yeah.
Yes, I might have gone past the school and went down to sports day, right, with my brother. So I had an idea of where the school was. Yeah.
So the first day you come on the campus now, Wayne, what was it like? What the experience like? First, tell me about the geography of the campus and it's like the feel of the campus. What it feel like when you come on the first day?
It was kind of surreal, you know, to some extent because Meadowbrook, you know, it was relatively new, and the first farm block to me didn't look like a typical school building, you know, and I kind of I think it was Tony who told me some story about some guy who was looking for a place to rent and came to Meadowbrook because he thought it was a housing scheme. Yeah.
Tony Moore?
Right? No, man, Tony. My brother's name was Tony.
Oh, Tony, okay, yeah. That's your older brother you talk about.
That's right.
Yeah, Anthony, yeah. Sorry, Wayne. Yeah. I remember I'm good, man. Yeah.
So I thought about that, you know, and the MHS was just, you know, MHS Meadowbrook Housing Scheme. But it was very interesting because you've seen other school buildings, and that to me was kind of outstanding. And of course, the location of the school. And I don't know how many people feel this, but the location of the school, just where it is, you know, nestled right there at the foot of the hills and the residential communities around it, it makes you feel as if you need to be good in this space. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, remember, I'm coming from New Day, you know, it's pure bad people around you at New Day School.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
I know you come to this place and it's like, damn, this looks different. And
you have to behave. It's like you have to change your behavior. You don't come to some behavior.
Feel that vibe. Yeah, you definitely. You feel like you need to be good. You need to not shout. You need to be a certain way in this environment because it just felt different, right?
That is true. I was impressed by the willow tree them at the front and the fence them and willow tree whistle. Nah, man, I couldn't forget that, man. And the year when you came in, I think it was like the second year. They put up the new building. Where were you where the first farm block was when you came?
So the first farm block would be, I guess you could say, to the left of Thorpe's office, right? So there was a water cooler book room. Yeah. My class was in the middle.
When I just came to Meadowbrook, it was only a 3-story building. And none of those buildings were there. I was in the first farm, the 3-story building, like first farm on the ground floor, second floor, and third floor. And then the rest there was some physics lab and some other, and the assembly hall.
Right.
The staff room was by where the assembly hall was upstairs, I think where the births ended up being. So yeah. You come look after your brother did right. You come look after them build apartment Black Roman could have rent out. So.
Yeah. It's actually a housing scheme look for real, you know.
Yeah, no, we have to work that exactly.
When you think about it. Kind of look like some
like a townhouse.
Some townhouses.
Yes, exactly. No, you tell me something tonight, Wayne. I can't forget that at all. Which is what your brother said, what you want to say. Yeah, man. So what's some of the people you come in now, Wayne? What's some of the people you meet? Some of my classmates you remember?
Wow. So this is the challenging part, remembering people. Of course, Pedro Pedro and I were very close.
Mm-hmm. And Pedro came from which school?
I think Pedro went to St. Richard's, you know.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Pedro went to St. Richard's. And then there was people like Paul Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know Pablo is to me is one of the most athletic guys that Meadowbrook ever had, who never became a popular guy, you know. He was
Yeah.
good at
Okay.
everything, you know.
Mhm.
People like Sharon Martin, one of my favorite classmates, and up till this day, even though we don't talk a lot, but you know, Sharon,
Yeah.
Monique Tennant, Easton Leiber,
Mm-hmm.
people like Leighton Johnson. I think Marston was in my class as well, you know. At
Yeah.
some point, Marston
Okay.
and I were in the same class, but I can't remember if it's first form or second form, but I know Marston was in my class,
Mhm.
you know, Patrick Dockery, Mitch Bogle, you know, and those are just the people I'm trying to remember from 1C.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
of course, you know, it would be kind of a blur for the rest of
Yeah,
them.
remember,
See the
but
faces, of course, you would remember them.
and by the way, Wayne, was it the shift system in place at the time? Was the first year shift system that? When you started our shift system yes?
I vaguely recall there was a shift system, but to be honest with you, because I think I was on the first shift, it's, you know, I can remember seeing and hearing about the second shift, but it's a bit of a blur to me.
Okay,
I
because
know people who say they were on the second shift, right?
mm-hmm.
You know, people like my good friend Bev Clark and those people said they were on the second, but you know, it's not clear to me remembering seeing school, you know, going on after we left, right? So,
Yeah, man. Must have been because my sister was actually in that year with you.
78.
Pamela
oh,
Thomas.
okay.
Pamela
Yes,
Thomas came
yes,
in
yes,
78.
yes.
Yeah. And she was on shift. He was on shift. Well, when I came, we
Yeah,
were on shift.
And what
But
year
I
came
came
yeah.
on
what year came
morning
Dante?
80.
80, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. The shift was going on, but for some strange reason, it's like that part of school, I had to be
Mhm.
reminded that there was a shift
Shift
system,
system. No,
to be honest
and
with
let me
you.
ask you a question then, Wayne. Is if that's the
Mhm.
case. Because normally shifting is like 1 year you're up on morning shift and the next year you're up on evening shift.
Next year, yeah, on the evening
At no
shift,
point
right?
at all you ever go up on evening shift then.
That's the thing. I can't recall.
Okay.
I might have.
Well,
The
a
old
40 odd
brain
years
kicks
ago,
in.
yes.
It's
I
like,
hear you.
damn, I don't remember.
Yeah, I hear you.
They,
So
they,
yeah,
they, they did cut it out after about 81, though.
81.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it cut out
Yeah,
after a while. I think it cut out after a
81.
while.
Mm.
But I can't relate to it because I never go upon that at all. Like on my Meadowbrook and it just
81, 82.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But it was there for about 3 or 4 years though. It was curious that you don't remember it at all. And you never
Trust
remember I
me.
go to school late at 12 o'clock and say, right, this a joke thing or not joke thing, it was
Yeah, I
different.
remember it at all.
No,
It's
right?
like that's when you realize, damn, memories really don't live like people do.
No. Yeah, man. Yeah. So
Mhm.
what's some of the teacher them you remember when in the early days?
Teachers, you know what? My first form teacher, Miss Lysette.
Yes, she was
Um,
my first form
that
teacher too,
lady,
She did the
oh, was
art.
she?
Yeah, she
Yeah,
was.
she was
Yeah.
an art teacher. She actually did create a very, very good impression in my mind as a form teacher.
Mm-hmm.
You know, very easy to talk to, very good with the kids, and you know, not bad to look at either. But
No,
she
with
was a
her
very
afro, yes, I remember. Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
And funny enough, yeah, a couple of years later, I think I want to say maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, we came back up to Meadowbrook and she was still there,
I
and I
think
recognized her because she looked the same.
she left and came back, Wayne, because that's what I heard
Mm.
anyway. She had left and go farm, and I don't know if you know this, Dante. A company was made sporting goods. I forget the name of the company.
Oh,
In a Swallowfield,
okay,
Dante. I may be wrong, but that's what I
Mm.
hear. But so they leave and go do that, and then she come back and teach. That's what I heard.
right.
She was my she was my farm teacher. No, I remember. She was my art teacher.
She was the art
Yeah,
teacher.
and as a matter of fact, she wasn't even married at the time. Her name was Miss Earborn or Miss Arborn. Miss Earborn, we
Oh,
used to call her.
okay.
That's
So Lysette was
married name.
her married
She
name.
married name Miss
Okay,
Lysette afterward. Yeah.
Mhm.
okay.
But
So there was her. I remember Miss Archibald. Of course, everybody remember Miss Bromley, even though she didn't teach me. But you remember her.
no, you could not forget her at all. No matter how you want to put it. No.
But,
No.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah,
some other good teachers, Pedro and I will have a very interesting memory of the home economics teachers, Miss Lecky and Miss Davis, that most of the other guys won't have, but we'll leave that for later. Of course, Mr. Dean, TD, you guys remember
Mm.
TD?
Mm-hmm.
And
With Mr.
for
Dean,
Miss,
there's a Mr. Dean that taught English as well.
yeah, so Mr. Dean, the one I'm talking about is the
TD. Yeah, man. I
technical,
know
no,
Mr.
we
Dean.
call it principles
T-
of business.
yeah.
No, TD is Townsend, the
Okay.
Bible knowledge
Okay.
teacher. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. Taught Mr. Dean
And then
taught econ and commerce.
economics, commerce,
Okay.
Yeah,
principles
yeah,
of
yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
business.
yeah.
Exactly.
He taught me to, yes. He taught me. So I know you're
Uh,
talking about. Yeah, 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 yeah.
and our maths teacher, Miss Griffiths, always referred
Yes.
to us as you set of big children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
Shallow
Kwame
brain.
Harton. Yeah, exactly, right? Uh, David Hussang, the famous Hussang, infamous, I
Mm-hmm.
would
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hanniford, I don't know why I remember Mr. Hanniford. He didn't teach me, but we remember him for different reasons, right? Again,
What subject he taught, Wayne? I don't remember the name of that at all.
Come on.
Hanniford.
Hanniford came, he taught in first one.
You know what? I
As a,
don't think he taught me. I think we just remember him because he's between him and Hassan. We used to have people we give some different kind of trouble, and we kind of gave him
yeah.
trouble even though he wasn't a teacher, right? For me,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
remember him for that.
As
And
I
of
know,
course,
Hanniford, he taught maths.
it could be
But
maths, chemistry, one of them subjects. I
what
don't remember
math?
which one
I
it
think
is.
it's yeah, either maths or
Maths?
chemistry, something like that. But
Okay.
he came from JC.
Okay.
I think he probably came while I was in. He came while I was in second form. The Hanniford that I'm thinking about.
But
I think it's
I think the
or
one I'm thinking about
mm,
was chemistry and bio. Dante.
mm. Okay,
Yeah, I think it was
probably,
chemistry
probably.
bio this one. But yeah.
Okay.
And of course, I think one of the teachers who had the most effect on me as an instructor was Miss Nelson, Vivian Nelson. She was
That's the Spanish teacher.
yeah, she taught Spanish and English,
Yeah.
and she did teach me both subjects. So I remember her very well, and quite a few others.
Valerie Nelson,
Mhm.
Valerie Nelson, Wayne, Valerie Nelson.
Vivian, it's Valerie. That's right, Valerie
Valerie Nelson,
Nelson.
yeah, man, yeah. She
That's
taught me
the
to, so
go.
I know
Yeah,
exactly. And could touch
definitely.
her all the way. Yeah. Yeah, she was a good
I do
teacher.
remember some of the other teachers. It would, I could go on and on with the teachers. You remember their name, their faces, and everything. But yeah, it was Mandra. I do remember that.
Yeah,
Remember
man, I
that
remember
guy.
Mr. Mandra. He taught me when I was repeating fifth form. So I know exactly what you're talking. Cause when you
And I
keep,
remember him for one reason only. Eh?
what's that?
The man never taught me, but he decided to span out, couldn't cane me the way she wanted to, so he did the job. So I remember.
Oh wow. Boy, you lucky it was Mr. Gooden.
Oh no, good didn't do that to me.
But Wayne,
Man did.
You don't strike me as somebody that get trouble. What kind of trouble you get in that to get caning? Are you with a troublemaker at school?
And to tell him, no man, I was never a troublemaker at school, so I never.
That's why I must say, get caning. I know. Dante, me I say, what Wayne could I do for get caning? Me I say, yeah. You know, your brother,
Yeah.
you're right. Your brother was a troublemaker at school. That me did know. You see me I said to you.
Yeah.
No,
He was a year below me, and the man when my movie that was pure trouble and talking him, and yeah.
well, I can put it this way: the polished Wayne that you're seeing now, it wasn't as polished in school.
What you say, mature.
like myself.
Yeah, man, yeah, well, true. That you was a good example for that, for true, Dante.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Let's say we did some things, but our things were different. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So it wasn't
Yeah.
like a very popular troublemaker like a Wendell Hacker or one of them kind of guys. You know what I mean? But yeah, we still had our little things that we did.
But I guess in that trouble.
Yes, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, your brother wasn't in the same class. We had a brother name. I know you said two anyway. You call him
Michael.
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 Yeah, and he wasn't in the same class at all.
No, we weren't. So I started off in 1C. I think he was in 1B, and I think he continued through the Bs. I continued through the Cs.
Okay, right up. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason, them always try to keep family separate and apart. I always say
Right.
that. From my time, you have brothers and sisters. Well, not necessarily true. 'Cause I remember two girls in my class from up in the hills, Dante. Sophia and Ada Anderson. I don't know if you remember them. Anderson, them is,
So yeah.
Ada Anderson, them name. They come from Paredes Rock Hallway. I don't remember which part, but yeah. One the tall and one the kind of short. Two of them started Meadowbrook the same year. Both of them were in 1B with me. So yeah. So tell me about some of them trouble that we give you in a school. Because I said this is like a shock to me, as I said, Dante. Because we must win the sounds of polish and just some. I said, right, we're not getting trouble at all. So.
Punish, you see? Dante put it the right way still, you know?
Tell me, all right, talk about some of the fun we used to have at school then. Talk about it then. And when you start, I'm going to put that way, before we go to that, Wayne, you come in on Meadowbrook now, were you, in a sense, were you surprised at the atmosphere of the rest of the students? What impression you get of the rest of the school population when you come in?
Well, you know what? I think, I don't know. Most people would probably do this, especially you're coming from a different environment. You're going to scope out everybody around you. You're looking and you're asking yourself questions. And based on the way people look, you ask yourself questions. Are these kids bright? Will I be able to cope with them? Am I going to be able to keep up with them? What is it going to be like? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the diversity kind of hits you, You see these people from different walks of life, and they appear to be kids who might be, and this is all you making up assumptions in your head, right? They seem to be probably more advanced academically, socioeconomically, and everything. So that's all going through your head, right? But after sitting in class and the first few days, whatever, you get to understand, this is not so bad. This is good. You know what I mean? But that was the first impression, right? You see kids and I don't want to say it was intimidating, but it caused you to kind of start to think and asking yourself questions if you're ready for this, right? I remember coming into school the first day, one of the questions was like, damn, this is high school. This is what it looks like. And then the curiosity takes over. So you start to notice everything and listening to everything, right? And notice people, of course, right? So that was kind of the first impression there.
So were you surprised then in terms of how quickly you're blending? In terms of you felt at home then at Meadowbrook?
Not really, because what kind of puts you at ease to some extent. It's those other kids who have a similar background as yourself. And something I found quite remarkable was that those kids who we used to call them back in school, we used to call them society boys. You know what I'm saying? Remember that?
I want to hear that name, the patrol Wayne, right?
So we used to call them
Society Youth Wayne. Exactly, Dante. Society.
You know exactly what I mean, because what you find is that the society boys try to blend in with you versus you try to blend in with them.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
So it kind of changed the whole vibes, and you're now, I don't want to say top dog, but for want of a better term, that's kind of the feeling you get, right? Because people want to be more like you versus you want to be like them. That's actually a good position to be. Yeah.
It was a nice melting pot. Them never want to show some boy them better on. It's like they wanted to be you. I wanted to be them. So it was like a nice melting pot then. Yes, yeah.
It was. And I think there was some genuineness about what they were kind of expressing at the time. I don't think they were trying to say, hey, I'm just going to compromise because I want you guys to feel good. I think they genuinely, kind of had that feeling that our lifestyle and the way we did what we did was the way to be. So
yeah, man, that was true.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that you're saying that, when I listen to Vivian Thomas' podcast, I can see why Meadowbrook was an experiment where we never realized we were part of an experiment. Because almost like I think the people who end up at Meadowbrook were chosen,
Yep.
You follow me? I said it wasn't a random thing when them just throwing, but it's like them look on what the parents them do and live. And I don't know how them do it. I don't know how them do it. Cause it must have been difficult to do. But it's like I had to end up and have the same feeling in terms of saying, no matter where we come from. It's like the people who are
Yeah.
chosen to come to Meadowbrook could have mixed so easily.
Mm-hmm.
You follow me? I said to you, no, you said that way,
Yeah.
and I understand exactly what you're saying. Because somebody feel too. And somebody
Yeah,
feel
man.
too. It never mattered to me. When me know
Because some of the
yeah, go ahead, Dante.
some of the people that you end up forming lifelong friendships with were from
Mhm.
different socio-economic
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
background than yourself,
Absolutely.
and it was as you say, it was a melting pot, everybody
Yeah, yeah.
did kind of fit in.
Absolutely. And I
I,
tell you something, there's a reason why I had asked you to have Pedro join me on this, right?
yeah.
And this is, of course, going back to school. So to Dante's point, right?
Mhm.
Pedro is a Norbrook man.
Mm.
Yeah.
And Pedro
Uptown.
will
Where you
tell you
guys
his
society
story.
boy, if you live in Narbrook.
Serious society, boy.
Yeah.
Real society,
Yeah,
boy.
man. I'm live in Narbrook them days, a big time society man that Dante. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. Well, Pedro was one of the coolest society boys you ever find. You
Yeah,
understand?
yeah.
And Pedro and I, it's like obviously Pedro and I, we don't look nothing alike,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you remember Pedro in our, street talk, we would say Pedro Indian. You know what I'm saying? But I remember at least one teacher calling me Pedro and calling him Win.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
understand?
that would be because you're always together.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right?
your Pedro don't look nothing like at all. That
Not my life. Not my life.
Yeah.
yeah,
See?
yeah.
Yeah. But that's a good example of a uptown man and a man from downtown or whatever you want to
From
call
the
it.
inner
Not I live
city, yeah. From the
town,
inner
but
city,
part, yeah. Because where we live in Chartwood Road, we're more associated with people from Grand Spend and Lady Huggins and Barbican. And those were our friends, right? We
Yeah.
weren't the uptown people.
Yeah. When live a short and live close to the garrison, them as they might call it. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
so that most of the man who come from that hard, it's a different environment completely than Narbrook and all them there, yeah. But knowing
Absolutely.
that you come to Meadowbrook and you know that at all, you would not know that there are two different environments that you come from. That was
Definitely.
the beauty of Meadowbrook. That is the beauty of Meadowbrook, trust me.
Oh, man. You see people from everywhere. You see Jungle, you see Waterhouse, you see Drewsland, Marvelly, and then you have Narbrook, Orange Grove, Bonny Hill. Everybody was there.
So you mentioned in your bio win that you were all on. I played all sports. I like all sports. Why you never take it up more seriously? Talk about
That's
that.
a very good point, That's a very good point. So here's the thing, and a lot of people probably wouldn't remember this, right? So when I came to Meadowbrook, I remember the first interfarm cricket competition we had. And of course, the dread was the umpire. Him and this other guy, Mr. Owen, I think David Owen was his name. And I remember I was bowling. I remember who was batting, but we were playing 1B, right? I remember I was playing, I think it was Kevin Reese's class. And I'm bowling and I'm noticing he's looking at me. I'm like, why is he looking at me like that? Am I doing something illegal?
I thought
I know how the dread roll. This guy here, yeah. And when I finished my over, he called me over. What's your name, young man? And he wrote my name down and told me, you got to come out for under 13 cricket, right? And so I started to train for under 13 cricket. But you asked the question, why didn't I follow through, right?
Right.
And it was a kind of a conflict, right? So number one, I had a mother, not to blame her for things, but your parents look at things differently back in those days, right? And you tell your mother, oh, I got selected to train at the cricket squad. And she's like, well, I never sent you to school for ramp, You sent you to study your book. So you never get that support, you know what I'm saying? So to stay back, and even though we trained with the team for a little bit, right? I trained with the team. I think yourself was there as well, Prince. I remember Dante clearly, but remember we used to even run that thing from bottom field. Remember the dread used to have you run all the way up Badaff and you run around that drive.
Yeah, for training. Yeah,
I did that run. I definitely did that run. But then there came a time when basketball right? Fergie and Dave Hall and Alton Crawford and them guys used to
that's
play
a great
basketball.
team, 1980 team, yeah.
Yeah. And I was kind of bitten by the basketball bug. And so I started to move away from this cricket thing. I think at that particular time, it's that Beckford had taken over the training, the coaching for the cricket team.
Yeah.
And I thought Becky was a joke, but that's a story. But I ended up going over now to watch basketball and decide, I want to learn to play basketball. And instead of coming to cricket training, I'm over basketball and still to make the basketball team. So that was a waste. But it was one of those other things. Just didn't take it seriously. And but after school, left Meadowbrook, still played some cricket. I can still throw it down. I think even the late Noel Curtis there. In cricket, I was one of the guys who kind of knocked out his stumps, and he's like, huh? But a lot of people don't remember that kind of stuff, right? I was a pretty decent bowler, can bat. I wouldn't say I'm a great soccer player, but I can hold it. You know what I mean? And then, of course, yeah.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's a pity. And I will tell you, yesterday evening we talked to, it was TC, Michael Lal, and Peter Maxwell. Now you must know Peter.
Yes, man.
Right? Peter had the same story like you, He wanted to play cricket, but his parents were not supportive.
Not supportive, exactly.
And it's a whole heap of talent, because if you are said the dread spot and your ball man, big, Curtis a big bats, and you look out himself.
Big bats.
You were more than a decent. If you would ever, trust me, enough man I know this, and I'm have to repeat this every time for man to understand. I hear me attack and I captain the team and all them with it. I never met the team until I repeat fifth farm win.
Yeah.
You hear me I tell you?
Yeah.
I never met a permanent member of the team until I repeat fifth farm. You see me I said to you? So you probably have more talent than me. I put it that way there. I'm going to put it that way. You see me I said to you?
Yeah.
We play Colts and all them things, but me always a grind. I always get better and better and I work hard at my game.
Yeah.
You see me I said to you? But I was fortunate in a sense. It's like, I ain't pick appearance, Don't pick appearance at all. And sometimes appearance. I was fortunate to have appearance where them kind of make me do what I want in a sense. It's like,
right.
You follow me? I said to you, it's like, even the first time I take O-level or 2 O-level I pass. Right? I'm not never quarrel with me or nothing. It's like, I say, let's go back and do it over. He never said something for stop play. At no point at time, old man never tell me that, Dante. None at all to say, boy, you pass, you have to stop play cricket. That never even come in that discussion at all. It's like him leave me for my own, to make up my own decision and go through. Yeah, it was. But no way, and I'm glad I asked you that question, man. You were more than a decent enough cricketer, man. For you, just spot you as a youngster, and I call you. You must have seen big talent, Dante, right?
Yeah, man. Mostly.
That was pretty decent. It was pretty decent, I was saying. I mean, it's not in a braggadocious way, but you know your talents. And I know I was pretty decent. You know what I mean? And even with the track and field thing, I think I actually, let me see, once in my life have I ever run a race at Meadowbrook during sports day. Because funny enough, I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it, but I grew to love it, right? God Shore was my house, right? The great God Shore. And I remember one sports day. Man. Dante is a champion because
Dante, of that. Forget Dante in more than one house, forget.
No, but I chose God Shore.
Exactly.
Like how you chose Meadowbrook, yeah.
No, I chose Meadowbrook too.
Yeah. That's the prudence of the God Shore people. They choose good things. You know what I'm saying?
So you run the one race for God Shore way, now what happened?
Well, I remember it was something like a 5,000 meter thing. They couldn't find anybody to run the race for the team. We just wanted the points and, Swaby, and they pushed me in there, right? I don't remember the name of the house captain at the time. But this was a race that had people like Norris. Remember Norris? What was Norris's last name again, Dante?
It's Norris.
Patterson. Norris Patterson.
Yeah.
Norris was a little man who used to do the long distance races. We had the Gobblers. We had Paul Chalmers. We had
recently to for big
exactly. Yeah, I know.
It was a naturally good athlete, man. Yeah.
Naturally. Yeah. I think we had Goosey and then we had Alan Blackwood and then some other people. So you see the people I just named, those are the people who beat me in that race.
And
The
then,
rest of them, we had no clue. So I think there was like what, maybe about 15 people in the race, and I came something like seventh,
yeah, man, and the
right?
man never beat a big time runner, the man athlete kind of
Big
thing.
one,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Big,
But then
big
later
time.
on in life, I kind of discovered and learned that maybe if you run a 200 meter or a 100 meter, you probably would have fared better. But I
Yeah,
never
yeah,
liked it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You're,
yeah.
And
you're,
yeah,
you're a better sprinter, yeah?
exactly, and I learned that later on, right?
But you say it sound like you could definitely beat me, Dante.
No, definitely, definitely.
Well,
Eh, eh,
Dante can tell you some of
Especially
the
now.
past
Especially
students
now.
race.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think
yeah.
what was it? I think don't remember Dirk was in that race. This is the past students race that we
Yeah,
did,
man.
Dante.
When Dirk swore that he was going to win, yeah?
And what? Dwayne run left him?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, make him stay.
Dirk and Donovan Carr and who else
All
was
of
there?
them.
There was another guy who plays for the Marina.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
say,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
so, yeah, not so bad on the feet, but
Yeah,
didn't do it at school.
yeah. So I didn't know this way, and I'm glad having this conversation, because let me ask you something. Of the three, your brother, the two other brothers, them, Tony and how you say their brother name again?
Michael.
Tony and Michael.
Michael.
Which one do you think were better athletes?
It's a great question. So Michael was actually a pretty decent all-rounder as well.
Mm-hmm.
That boy can bat. And he was actually, as short as he was a faster runner than me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, man. Michael was a faster runner in his feet than I was. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't so bad playing some football as well.
Mm-hmm.
Tony now cricket. I don't know him as no runner or anything else, but he loved table tennis and he could play a little bit of cricket.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't think any of us took it seriously.
Mm-hmm. 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 So you used to follow the sports then, Wayne. You follow the cricket, and the question
Yes,
I really
sir.
want to ask you: when we won in 1982, were you following up them game? Were you surprised that Meadowbrook actually won a trophy finally in 1982 when you were at school?
Actually, no, I wasn't very surprised. I was over the moon when we won the competition. But seeing, and I used to follow the team to certain venues,
Oh, you
I
come
remember
watch a
one
bottom
friend
field and all them way there.
once to match a bottom field. We came to Excelsior,
Okay.
came to Tivoli,
You're a
from
big
Brook
fan then.
Fight.
It's not necessarily, you're a big time fan then, Dante.
Yeah.
But you never recruit him, Dante. I want to you. Yeah, continue, Wayne.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, I used to follow the team and kind of, the memories of the matches won't necessarily be with me right now, but I do remember when we won, and you think about the guys who used to be on the team and watching them play other teams. It's like you could see that we had a certain kind of class, and it wasn't anything less than anybody else's. And I think the work ethic was there, the desire was there. And they executed, and the results was what it was, right?
Mm-hmm. So how did that make you feel as somebody?
Major pride, man, because remember, we walk with the green and blue anywhere. So we can walk around and talk about our school. You understand?
Yeah, man.
We're number one.
Yeah, man. Big pride, big sense of pride.
Make a big difference. It make
Big thing, man. Big thing.
Big difference.
Definitely.
Yeah. You see, I just think it just affect the man who want to play upon the team, but I never realized that.
No, because remember this, Jelly. You if you're a person like most of us will have this experience where in your neighborhood you're gonna have other kids who go to other schools. Some of them unfortunate boys' schools.
Yeah. Or discipline a couple of times. So yeah, we can't say that. Yeah. We're not calling them name. We're not big them up. Yeah.
I call them name. Just those unfortunate boys' schools. And they're going to sit back and talk about their schools and who did what and Ray. And they used to say, Meadowbrook Sapsis School. Right? But no, you have something to talk about. It's like, yes, say something now, no? We want that. Say something now. You know what I'm saying? And you hear the thing, just because. And, now you start talking loud. Because we didn't just do it once. We did it more than once.
Yeah, man. We set up a dynasty.
Definitely.
It was not fluke or a flash in the pan. No.
Not at all.
No.
And cricket was a a big sports. It's not like now where cricket
was, Dante.
in Jamaica. Cricket was well recognized.
Cricket was the sport win. As I always say, at the time we had dominated cricket win and Dante. Cricket was West Indies team was the best cricket team. As a matter of fact, not just the best cricket team, the best team period in the world.
In the world.
Best team. Not about cricket alone, is the most dominant team for 15 years. Yes, the best sports team in the world. Yeah, exactly. And for say we are dominated in Jamaica at the time, you have to say it was live for to yourself and remember that, man. Because it was it was a championship era that way, Dante and Wayne.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the quality of schoolboy cricket was really high because that's kind of how sports work, When we have people who are role models like the West Indies team at the time, all these young kids want to play cricket. So you used to have the best really manifesting themselves and people pick them and they make teams, right? So it wasn't a simple thing. They were really, really good cricketers back then playing high school cricket.
So the best athletes were playing cricket.
Yeah, man. Yes, that's exactly right. Exactly. Because them time of football, unlike now, football much better because man I get better paid and more weight name there because I can't come and America and play. It never have that option in the 1970s and 80s. You're right about that, Dante. Cricket was the sport where the best athlete go and play. You're right about that, Dante. That was the sport. That was man. So we compete against the best at the time and win so much time is a big achievement, man. I'm glad. That's one reason I wanted to start talk about them thing. It is not in a context. I say it was the most dominant period of any sports team ever. You follow me? And we take that sport and we dominate. In at the time, it's a big thing, man. I want to talk about it over and over, man.
And that 82 team was dominant. Them was just. There was almost a sense of arrogance, like you can't lose.
We're not play for lose that.
Definitely.
There was that thing.
So were you at the final, Dwayne?
No, I didn't. No, I wasn't able to get to and watch the final match. No. But I don't remember where I was, but for whatever reason, I wasn't able to be there.
I'm most certain say brother did that, so I'm not sure I remember. And that
I wouldn't be surprised if Michael was there, because I'm one of those guys. As much as I wasn't wearing a halo, you probably will find me in class. But Michael, no.
Man, I'm going to see a whole brother being there, man. Tony,
Michael will hold a fence and a bus, and you'll be there, right?
Yeah. So talk to me about some of the fun memories that made at Meadowbrook, Wayne, where you remember, say, boy, you talk about some of the time you get caning and all them things, and some of the other fun memories them. In the classroom, on a field trip, sports. Yeah.
Well, fun memories, watching cadets. As a matter of fact, I actually joined the cadet for a very short stint, I was actually very fascinated with the way the cadet parade presented themselves with Vivian Thomas and, Neville Foster and Chana and my great, to me, Naman Nar was a great drummer, great guy as well.
Yeah.
I joined the team and, because of my Devon Bantan, I'm like, okay, not doing this cadet thing. Because I was standing on parade one day, right? And Devon was kind of in charge that day and he's like, attention. So stood at attention. I remember this fly came around and of course you naturally fan the fly. Private Swaby, why are you fidgeting? So I'm like, fly, sir. Okay, fine. It happened a second time. Same question. I responded the same way. And Deban said to me, don't run the fly. Eat him. It's good meat. I'm like, because I was a very feisty kid at the time. I'm like, stand at these. I'm like, who this brother here talk to?
Yeah.
I stand and just walk off parade and he's calling me, oh, oh, Virgin, I'm going to eat fly on this thing.
No. But that's why I never gravitate towards that doing. It's the same sort of thing. I don't like certain things that does But different throw for different stroke. Me like to play cricket and it requires a certain amount of discipline. But in my mind, discipline where, but it's like it's in the military now. It's like a sense of discipline without even
Right.
an explanation. Sometimes it doesn't make no sense. With you see me I said to you,
That makes
Dante,
sense.
and you were apartheid.
Yeah.
So, but everybody, I was.
Definitely.
If it now make no sense to me, Wayne, I'm like you. Me not do it.
No, that's not.
Me not do
And
it.
for me,
That,
it wasn't even discipline. It was more disrespect. I'm
no,
like,
right?
what
No,
you
but
talking about?
them not see it that way. There, you know, it's like them say them afraid. In a sense, you know, the military is like that, you know, and the police.
Yeah,
Is,
I
you know,
know.
them just want to see if you can follow orders. That's all them check
Yeah.
right now. And certain
And I
people,
want to break you down and build you back into
yeah, man,
whatever they want you to
And
be.
certain people that make for follow orders. Me and you, one of them is look like Wayne. We just
So,
from
I was
Well,
yeah, go ahead,
totally
Dante.
don't come on to that.
I was a cadet, but a whole lot of people ask me, "Oh, a man like me."
Yeah,
Them
that's
some
what I ask
people
you,
like-
right? Because you don't look like a man that can follow orders. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Where get your
Honestly,
diet?
me,
Yeah.
me and Shane,
Yeah,
I don't
worse.
know. We never, we were not so. How do I say? During our period of being cadets, we weren't as disciplined as a lot of people think. You know.
You skirt the
And
edges.
then, yeah.
That's true,
But I
man.
totally understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So the
Um,
cadets, I still watch them. I love the way they
when the
you know, I
parade are
think
going and all that thing. Yeah.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
definitely there. You know, one of my favorite things was, of course, the girls' netball team.
Oh, definitely,
You know,
man.
watching them do their thing.
Mhm.
Interfarm sports was great. Class parties. I don't know if you guys remember, we used to have regular class parties close to Christmas
man.
time.
Yeah, man. And
Yes,
in
man.
the classroom, Wayne. Yes.
In the
In the
classroom.
classroom.
Yeah, man. I remember
Yeah.
that. I just mentioned that. I remember that to Wayne. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And one of the things we used to do is you talk about some of the trouble with it was kind of like if it's not your class, you just have a roll a stink bomb in the people and thing, right?
So who teach you how to make that? Because I never learned how to make that at all. I want to learn that. In chemistry lab?
Chemistry lab, and I think you could actually buy it. I don't know which store, but there was a place you could actually buy those things. But you could actually make them in chemistry lab with, I don't remember what the ingredients are, but I think sulfur was one of the main ingredients, right? I roll them in people's class parties and, you know, I remember, there was some kind of trouble you give it. I mean, they were fun. They were kind of serious but fun, you know. I mean, you're a schoolboy, and
Yeah, man.
somebody once said one of the worst things God ever created was a schoolboy, and how true is that, you know?
Yeah, man. But a good clean fun to lab, Wayne. When I heard
So
about
clean,
you know,
definitely,
different things.
definitely. Good, clean fun.
Nothing to hurt anybody at all.
And for the record, Wayne, you and Norman now are contemporaries in the start school the same year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Norman, I think Norman was is it 1B or 1D? One of those ones, but his class was beside mine. So Norman, Charlie Bopp, Robert Johnson, Courtney Johnson, those guys I believe were in the same class. And Michael. Yeah, my brother was in the same class
with
with them.
Okay.
Yeah. We
Funny.
used to call him Shrivel Up.
Yeah. Oh, that's your brother nickname?
That's what I used to call him. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
that's the name he had.
As they call that name, I remember that name that I just can't picture the face of who that and what but yeah. So why did you get Kane in? Hold on, before we go to that. You came in and Mr. Tarp was principal. It's 1 year Mr. Tarp you get.
Yeah, we got 1 year Mr. Tarp.
And then Mr. McLennan took over. What was the difference like in terms of a leadership on Mr. Tarp as opposed to Mr. McLennan? What was your impression of the difference?
Well, I think just the presence of, and this is not to sound sexist or anything, but Tarp has a presence as a man that was rather commanding, you know what I'm saying? And the man didn't have to speak for you to feel intimidated. He just had to be there, right? Him and the dogs and whatever. It's like you feel like you need to stand attention when the man walked by, you know?
Yeah, man.
I remember one time we made the mistake of, it was forbidden to kick box ball. Remember, we used to stuff loose box. And a group of us decided that we're going to kick box ball. You know where we were doing that? Right under that mango tree, outside of his office, outside of the technical training room. Yeah. And of course, we're there and we noticed some kids scampered off. And those of us who were oblivious to what was going on were there like, what? You look behind, you see the three dogs and this man in the white bush jackets with a smile. He put on the sarcastic smile and go to my office.
Yeah, man, yes.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly weird. I was listening to you say that. Man. All I'm planning was there was a prince. See me in my office.
Yeah, just in your office.
Yeah,
And then he was very respectful to because he got in his office and he had a conversation with you and, what are you thinking? And then, of course, he pulled the green curtains. And it was game over once the curtain is pulled, right? Thanks, man.
so you got killed from Mr. Top to in?
Yes, man. I think it was me, Norman, Charles, and somebody else. But I remember this one specifically, and not to make fun of Norman, but he kind of made us laugh, even though we were in line to get caning, right?
Yeah.
So Norman was a kind of chubby kid,
Yeah.
And you remember you heard me talk about that box of canes jelly that Top had in the corner, right?
Yeah.
So when it was Norman's time to get caning, Top looked at him and go, "You're a rather fat boy. You need a rather fat cane."
Yo,
Just
I know weird. Yeah.
That's it.
Yo,
So
weird.
That's the man deal with my brethren, man.
Yeah.
Are you in line to get caning? But how can you not laugh at that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So the one I crack up behind him then.
Yeah. So the man put on a thing on my brethren Norman and thing is like, you're gonna get yours, but you're there enjoying the way he's getting his, right?
Yeah. Now man, I remember for tell that one the Dante, but yeah.
But say one of the things is that we usually laugh at each other.
Yes, man.
Even when you get in caning, you laugh at who
What we
react
right?
and how to it and all them things.
Yeah.
When caning finish.
That was okay.
You're right, because there's a group on I get caning, It's
Yeah.
very rarely you one time you get caning, and me one Mr. Tab kind of come with a Makatita and him call him Mr. Prince in my office.
Okay.
But most of the time it's like a group of just I get to something and say, all right, see in my office. And I say no, done. Once you drop him I say, see my office, go to my office.
It was crazy.
Yes.
So my second foray with that thing was mantra. So this I think this was about, I don't remember how many years later, but a group of us, and I don't want to call anybody's name out at turn, but I think myself, Robbie Johnson, Maurice Livingston, Philip Reed, Pedro, Leon Gross, a couple of us, right? Somebody brought this firecracker to school, and this wasn't an ordinary firecracker. This thing looked like a
Thunderbolt.
It was big, something like that. Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah,
right? And we were there debating, what should we do with this thing? You have to make it spectacular. What are we going to do with this?
Yeah.
And we had the bright idea to light the firecracker and throw it in the staff room. And we did. And took off, and it felt like the whole wall was coming down. As a matter of fact, even the police showed up because Spanner made it. She actually took cover under a desk. A lot of the teachers went low because they thought it was a gunshot, right? So somebody called the Constant Spring police, and Bigger Ford and his friends came. They realized it was a firecracker because they saw the residue, the paper stuff and things. So of course, I don't know how it happened, but Spanner came to the conclusion that it was our group. And I don't know how, but ended up in her office, and she decided she was going to administer the punishment. So I don't know if you ever had that experience with Spanner, but she had a way of putting her hand behind her, and she folded her lips, and she kind of pivoted on her toes, and she's gonna. I'm laughing because I found it funny. So she decided, what's so funny? So I said to her, like a stupid person, I'm like, you can't hurt me, miss. So she called Mandra. I didn't
Hold
know
on,
this.
hold on, Wayne. You tell her so she can't hurt you.
Yeah. I don't know why I did
What
that. I'm
farm?
like, well,
Hold
you
on,
can't
what
hurt
farm
me,
in at
miss.
the time? What farm in at the time?
This was probably third farm.
Yeah, that sound like
Because
something. That sound like something I've done to you that day. And look, I says, you can't really hurt me, you know. Yeah, yeah,
for real.
yeah.
Because I'm there laughing, and she's asking me, why am I laughing? I'm kidding and you're laughing. So I'm like, it's because you can't hurt me. So she called him, and then he decided that, okay, he's going to do it. But that was my two. I think that might have been the two times I've ever
Yeah,
gotten
yeah,
to
yeah. But
Meadowbrook. Yeah, yeah.
trust me, it couldn't be as good as Mr. Tap. Mr. Tap, I like the same place every time to rat it.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah,
Tap,
that decent.
yeah, no, you can't talk about that Wayne. If which one of them Kane hotter, if Mr. Tap or Mr. Mandra, I may say me get Kane from Mr. Tap. Mr. Tap, that skill Dante. You never know Mr. Tap Dante. I wonder if
And he probably came the year after Tab
Oh,
left, probably.
I did mute for a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah,
You hear me
yeah,
now?
yeah, mom. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know Dante. Yeah.
So I came the year after Mr. Top left.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so you never get Kane at all, Dante.
Well,
So what do the Kane in for span at the
we
time?
get Mrs. McLennan herself, Mr. Gooden. Yeah, I think that was about it for me. Mrs. McLennan and Mr. Gooden. Oh, I get a few from all Mrs. Mars too.
It means
Oh,
Kane
yeah.
in?
Dr.
Dr.
Mars.
Morris, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Boy.
yeah, yeah.
Dr. Morrison.
So you did laugh after them like Wayne?
No, sir. The thing with me is when Spanner inflicted, I never want her to call Mr. Gooden. You know
Oh, so you just take it. You're smart.
yeah, but just take it.
Yeah, Wayne never
So,
smart, Dante, you're right. Because I said
that's what I said.
if you
That's smart.
yeah man, you only kinda go on like say I hurt, but she not really hurt you at all. Exactly.
Yeah, I had no idea what would have happened next.
Yeah. But we,
Yes.
yeah. So the leadership style is different from Mr. Tarp to Mr. McLennan than Wayne.
Yeah, man, was very different. Top was a different kind of person. You know, I remember clearly one time. I don't remember who these people were, but they were supposed to be comedians, right? And they came to Meadowbrook to entertain the kids.
Mm-hmm.
We were all in the auditorium. I remember Top was standing by one of the side doors in his typical cream color bush jacket and thing. And this man was up there cracking jokes and carrying on and entertaining and kind of made eye contact with Top. And we looked at the man was as serious as a judge. And we're like, that is what we started laughing at.
Yeah.
This man is up there cracking these jokes and Top is sitting there going, like looking at the man like, really?
Still in the face.
And that was, and that was the kind of individual that dude was, right? And of course, you know, him and his dogs and coming into the classroom to pay you a visit every now and then was something that you didn't really look forward to as kids, you know? They're wondering, geez, am I sweating now? Did I do something wrong? Did I, you know? But it wasn't, with Spanner now, it was more like fun, you know?
Yeah.
Not that she wasn't a disciplinarian, she certainly was.
Yeah.
But we liked her personality. We liked who she was. She come into the class and start to sing. You know, she started to sing about. You remember the song Dante used to sing about? Will you walk into my parlor, said the spider to the fly?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she come in and she sing that with that upbeat thing, and she kind of created a different kind of vibe. You know, so even though you respected her a lot, I didn't necessarily fear her as much as I did Thorpe. You know, there's a difference there.
And the few that they go ahead, Dante, sorry.
I actually had the pleasure of opening a few more than once dance floor, the dance floor at the fete.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
Why they go to school?
Yeah, man. Why I go to school? She was like that, man.
Yeah, man.
I forget to say
It was
you're boy
fun.
anyway. I forget about that Dante.
It was
So,
fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
yeah.
I tell you a little story too, you know, I mean, unrelated trivia, but she actually taught my mother at school.
Oh really? What
Wow.
school that was?
I don't remember which school, but some country school. I remember my mother would have to remind me the name of that school. But she actually taught my mother at school.
I think somebody come from St. Mary, Wayne.
St. Mary, exactly, it was in St. Mary,
Yeah,
but I
man.
can't remember the name of the school.
Yeah. Christopher Taylor tell me that's St. Mary to come from patrol. Yeah.
Mhm.
Really.
Uh,
That is
And,
something.
and she teaching at Meadowbrook from when?
From the beginning, Wayne.
Or
From the beginning.
Yeah.
I got a
Yeah,
picture there from that somebody there.
yeah,
I must send it to the two.
yeah, yeah.
The
She was
original
one of the
staff.
first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I went send a picture to the right.
That's
And
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Original staff
Was-
member them. I did up in them send it to me the other day.
Yeah.
For them.
I mean, I've seen it, because
Marcia might have it.
Marcia sent it to me. I think.
Yeah.
Send it still.
Yeah, I send it. I don't know if we never see it. Yeah. I went say
Okay.
with the original
Okay.
staff member them. Miss Peter King.
Mhm.
I don't never know Miss Peter King to taught me. Mrs. Smith was there, and I don't know if you must remember Mrs. Smith, Wayne, and Dante, the bursar.
Yes.
Yes.
The bursar,
Not
yes.
the bursar, the secretary, Mr. Top secretary.
Secretary.
Yes.
Yeah, she was there. She was
Yeah,
there.
she had a son at school when I was there. No,
Yeah.
the oldest son was my farm prefect. He was in 6th form. Then she have a daughter. On the probably know her daughter. I think she named Alison, and the
Yeah.
son Derek.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know.
Derek
I know
Smith, I
the
remember
daughter.
Derek.
Yeah.
I know the daughter and the son.
Yeah.
That was in. Yeah.
Yeah, I know them.
There-
Yeah, go ahead.
She had a son that was, I think, in Wayne's year, a year ahead of Wayne.
I think it was in our year, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say it's Derek.
Yeah,
Right?
that would have been
Could be
Derek.
wrong
That
with
would
the
have been
first
Derek.
one, but I
That
think
would have been
maybe-
Derek.
Yeah.
And there was an older brother named Andre. He was in 6th form when we got married. So I don't know him at all. Derek, we not all. Derek was like a little younger than me, but a little older than Wayne. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I went send a thing to him. Yeah. So Wayne, what the most embarrassing moment you can remember a Meadowbrook where you can look back on with a smile?
Embarrassing moments. It's interesting, right? It wasn't like, okay, so everybody have pride in sports, and I think back in my days, I think I was telling Kevin Reese the story. He didn't remember it, but coming into interfarm cricket, there was, everybody had great expectations because, Swaby and you can play cricket and you're good and they're looking forward to you to kind of contribute to the team. And I made a big duck, man, and it was, to me, very, very embarrassing. But you know what? Embarrassing and hurtful because at the time, it was Reese bowling to me. I remember clearly the ball hit me on my finger and Mr. Owens. The guys appealed and Owen put up his finger. I'm like, there's finger before wicket.
Yeah.
And for me, that was like, it's still embarrassing because you're coming to the game and great expectations of you, and you're walking back to the stands with your bat under your shoulder. You just make a duck. That was
farm cricket, Wayne.
I was farm cricket, yeah, man.
Yeah, well, hold on.
Yeah,
Before we go to any more embarrassment, let me tell you my first match I played for Meadowbrook, Dante. I don't know if you know that story. I don't know if I ever talk about this yet. It's in a little book when I write, when I soon put out an album with it. We played George's down at Woodford Park, and George are behind Binance, you know, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I youth named Carter. I opened the batting first time I play court. You see me reach semi-final. See me reach finals at the court, 77. So I never saw school yet. And I opened the batting, Wayne and Dante. And the man bowled 2 outswingers to me, That time I don't know nothing about outswing or in-swing, Because all in my mind at that stage, I say, only a spinner can turn the ball. You see me? I say,
Yeah.
So the man bowled 2 outswingers, Dante, and yeah, man, me just leave alone, lift up the bat and leave alone. The next ball, the man bowled same pitch, the same way, but it was no outswinger, I leave alone.
Yeah.
Wow, you got tricked, eh?
Ducks never first match I never forget that. But guess what? Mr. Becky never drop me at all, man. And respect, we can't stop respect him up, Wayne. You see me, I said to you, because Mr. Becky, in my mind, was the first man to come to Meadowbrook. Because he run the team before I start pick team based on merit.
Yes.
You follow me, I said to you, so if you come and train, you have the right attitude and your coach. So, me respect him for that. It make it in a sense easier for when the dread come that a system that they in place, so you start pick team on merit. And it wasn't even no official coach, and Mr. Top kind of kind of tricky.
And put him in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. But,
Man, he was good. When I said earlier that, he gave me so the joke I remember when I talk about when I said he's a joke. I remember we were playing and I think Marston he gave the bat and Marston was supposed to hit the ball to us and we were supposed to field the ball. So of course Mr. Becky was showing us the correct way to field the ball. So now he's gonna demonstrate to us now and he's like, gentlemen, if you go down on your knees like this and you back up the ball, there's no way you can miss. No way you can miss. Marston, hit the ball to me. Let me show them. And Marston hit the ball to him and he missed. So you see, you can miss.
yeah. I could have tell you, me and Dante could have tell that script because Becky was strength feeling was Becky thing because she had the glasses win. Enough time.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Feeling wasn't him thing for
No.
but,
No, weird this way. I'm glad they cleared that up to the artist. So yeah, that would have been fun to see. That's exactly what I'm doing now. You want to see you can miss as well. If they're gonna...
It's a joker like that for true,
Yeah, man, no, definitely,
man.
Man. But that's why it was easy for me around. You learn how to from him. That's exactly right way. Exactly. Exactly. I swear, I'm glad I cleared that up. I'm glad I cleared that up because I didn't want a misconception going. But that was fun, because I'm going to laugh after I'm saying, see, I hear this and when I remember this, I laugh after this. I when I'm hearing this.
Iman Bell Nevis had a joker, two jokers.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
because Bell Nevis would be laughing after him on the field.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But remember, them used to play a teacher's match.
Yeah, man, against students, yeah.
Against students. And we used to call them gap.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Call the two of them gap.
Yeah, man, because the ball goes to them, it's like a juggler to them, man. And,
yeah, man. Gone.
Oh, man. He was a joker for sure. He was a very nice teacher, though. He was chemistry, right?
Chemistry, yeah, man. No,
yeah, man. Mr. Becky was a great teacher.
Man, he was a nice teacher, man. A great individual, that man. I'm going for respect for him, man. You can't stop big him up and respect him, man. So when I say Wayne, don't feel bad about your dogs in a farm, man, because you got make dogs, Cold smart Dante, I open from Meadowbrook and make dogs. A big time leave alone. Let me tell you, right, exactly.
Leave alone.
I'm
like tell them story because people hear me talk and say, man, Jelly, a big time creator from man. No. No, I is a whole heap of, you have to go through, you have to work your way through the thing, them man. You see me, I said to you, and then you learn and you get better and better, A discipline and determination, man. You just go and go through. So, I just want, when you bring up them things, man, I have to talk about them things that way, man. Say, I never arrive at a cricketer or a captain on a team, man. I learn and pay my dues. I said to you, I will never give up at that. Because the only time you're going to feel, is when you stop trying, In a life or in a sport, The only time
and truth is, I feel say if Wayne did follow through, because Wayne is two things. If the dread say
him good,
come
pick him,
yeah. Because the dread can identify talent,
right?
Right. And then the dread know how to get the best out of the talent.
No, without
definitely.
Without a doubt. But I tell you that way. If you under the circumstances around your parents are different, where you were them not even encourage you, but never discourage you. Because I never get no big encouragement from my people, But them never stop me from doing what I want. Them never stop me from follow. It's a big difference, It's not like my parents.
Difference.
You see me, I said to you. So, but Dante right about that, man. Based on what I tell me, man, you would have been part of one of them cricket team, man. If you didn't get a chance to take up on your talent. I have no doubt at all about that way. But now, if I hear pick you, come just watch your ball and say, I'll work on your talent, man. And turn it down first class.
It was going our way, okay, until that time,
Yeah.
Definitely.
So you have any more embarrassing moment, Dwayne? What you want to talk about?
Embarrassing moments. I had one moment that I don't know that this wouldn't be at school with anybody being present, but at the same time, it's a memory of Meadowbrook. I remember one time we had it was supposed to be a class trip. Group of us decided to go. I think they were going to Green Grotto Cave, right? And dude, trust me, I don't remember what day of the week it was, but made your lunch, chicken and juice and bread and whatever. And I don't remember what time they were supposed to leave school, right? But let's say they were supposed to leave at 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I probably showed up at about 8:15.
Mm-hmm.
So, so Bridget, the people I'm gone. So me like a fool now decide, I think I could catch them. So you go down, take your money and take a 37 bus and go downtown and take a bus to Ocherius. Thinking, yeah, you're gonna catch these people. I'm Bridget. First time ever going to Ocherius, and ask a man, sir, where's Green Grotto Cave? And of course, I get the countryman answer. They just round the corner.
Yeah.
Bridget, I start a piece of hiking.
You start walking?
I walk towards Green Grotto Cave, and I said, I can't reach this place. So, of course, you have to give up on that you're walking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And give up on the trip, Bridget, and on the way back, pull down on the seaside and have lunch and reach back at Ocherius and realize that, damn, I don't have enough money to come back home.
Wow. What on the way? So what grade you in at? What farm you in at the time?
Bridget, I think this was either fourth farm or fifth farm.
Okay. You're big enough. Yeah.
Did you know, right?
Yeah.
I know, imagine, as a youth, Ocherius, I talk to these bus drivers that try to negotiate your way back to Kingston. That was embarrassing. Like, I don't have money to go home. And of course, you come back to school Monday and everybody treated as if it was nothing. Nobody laughed about it or anything, but that was for me quite a memory, you know what I'm saying?
That was some memory, we are talking about. That's some Meadowbrook memory. Dante, that was some story to write.
That's a serious story.
I will on the win. And you want that like say you and a man apart, I come with Dante with a pan with chain. And I said, boy, yeah, are you alone, Wayne?
Yeah, alone. I'm the only one. I came back a year. The man, I'm gone already.
So hold on.
So what take the whole bus.
What are you read to him tonight? What are you read to him?
That's a very good question because your parents start worrying now.
Yeah, that's
I don't think I got back home until sometime after 7, 8 o'clock. It was kind of dark.
Yeah.
Must be.
You can.
And probably at that, at your athletic prowess, that I say no.
That was quite a workout, eh?
That's a good workout.
Hold on the win. By now, I hope you know how far Green got is from Moche.
Oh, gosh, man. I want to tell you, Jelly, it's funny because that's how memories work. When I come to Jamaica and I drive from Orchard going towards Chilani, them ways, and you pass Green Grotto, I always break out a smile.
Yeah, after.
Because I'm looking like that's where it was. Yeah.
I think
people don't know why I'm smiling, but I'm like, damn, I remember this place. You
Green
know what
Grotto is like, I think you have to pass Discover Bay or Runaway Bay.
It's a serious trek.
Just before you reach
the countryman tell me just round the corner.
Yeah,
right?
And the man said just round the corner. Yeah.
Round the corner.
So hold on. That's where you have to sit back for digging out. How far you did walk but decide before you stop? How long you walk before you decide to stop, Wayne?
I'm going to say what I can remember seeing. I think I got to a place where I could actually see, that past Duns River for sure. Right? I definitely passed Duns River. I think I got to a place where I was standing. I could actually see, where, what you call that? It was far, but you could actually see that place where they load the backside ships.
Yeah, man, out at Discover Bay.
Yeah. So obviously that was way out there, right? But I didn't get that far. But where I was sitting on the I could see it.
The shipping pier, that's what I mean. You could see the harbor there.
Exactly. Trust me, man.
That is from Ocherius. That's almost like in those times, it would have been almost 1 hour drive with the old road.
With the old road. Yes.
So walking to there, so it must have been a few hours. I tell you.
It was a serious thing, man. But remember, after you walk to the place, you have to walk back.
Yeah, exactly. So hold on again then. Let me ask you another question about this now. So Where you walk? I mean, the country road them not on the sidewalk for walk, man. Which way you walk?
You just have to walk in a
Yes, of
corner.
course, exactly.
Yo,
God.
we have some gem here tonight at that team, I tell you.
Nah, that one, yeah.
Yes, that one a big win, and I tell you.
That was quite something,
Yeah, man,
man.
yeah.
Quite something.
That is something, and that's a Meadowbrook member, man. Because Meadowbrook, you go and give us a strip and all them with it.
It was supposed to be a Meadowbrook trip,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
Honestly, yeah.
But may I ask you a
Those
question?
are.
Let me ask you another question,
Mhm.
and this is straight for you now, because this more want to talk about this extensively with you, because see how the Franklin asked me, give me that question, yeah. And this
Yeah.
because me know how much you give back for Meadowbrook since me get back involved, and me know the and I may have a couple more questions, but the first question I ask is, the question see how they ask me for ask, what you think can be done to inspire Meadowbrook alum for one to give back to the school, What do you think can be done?
That is a great question, and I can see, knowing CRD and the great guy he is and the great thinker he is, I can see what he's trying to get, in terms of an answer for that. Now, it's hard to teach someone that they should be altruistic, but you can teach them what the values of altruism, right? And, some people, you think about going to school and you went to school and the school did its job. That's what they're supposed to do, so therefore you don't owe them anything.
Yeah.
But if you really kind of think a little deeper, you're going to realize that this particular institution gave you something. It gave you some things, as a matter of fact, that will serve for life. You're talking about the experiences that you have. People don't seem to realize that experiences are life lessons, right? The educational instructions that you got from the school, right? The preparedness that you got from the school for the life you're living now. Now, some people didn't do well with it. I get that, but that's just how it is, right? But I tell you a quick story. We have a young lady in our group, right? And I know she wouldn't mind me telling this story, but when we initially invited her to join up with us, she told me a similar story about how much Meadowbrook didn't do anything for her. And I sat and I listened to her, and I asked her a simple question. I said, "You have an MBA now, right?" She said, "Yeah." And the simple question was, what do you think it is that prepared your mind and your brain to get to the point where you could actually succeed in that? She didn't want to hear nothing more. Now she's a member that you can't break away from the group. Because she recognized what I'm saying. The school is what did that for you, right? Now, you talk about altruism and you talk about your island and you talk about your legacy, right? As a person, as a human being, it's good for you to have respect for the things and the places that you've been to. And when I say places that you've been to, I mean in your own life's journey. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to say to your kids and your grandkids with pride, this is where I discovered how to be a man. This is where I learned how to be a friend, a husband, a wife, whatever, right? And if this place that you're talking about is something that you can't be proud of, you don't want to talk about it, right? So how do you create that space or help to create that place where your kids can look at it and go, really? This is great, right? It's by giving back and helping to preserve that legacy, right? When you talk about, I could go on this forever because Meadowbrook is just one institution. And as much as we badmouth the rest of them, we all serve the same purpose, right? You're trying to build the next generation that's going to protect our little garden. And when I say our little garden, I'm talking about Jamaica, right? You leave your little garden and you go away. It's still yours. You want to come back and know that garden is still beautiful. So you have to now protect and build the next gardener for that, right?
Yeah.
And that's the next kid. So investing in the future, investing in the kids, but you cannot do all of it. So you do it through the one you know, and that's Meadowbrook, right?
Yeah, man.
So let me ask you a question, Wayne, because what motivated you for wanting to give back to the school? And how long? A two-part question. And how long? When you decide, say, you just want to give back to Meadowbrook, the way you have done with all these years.
So there was a time, when you kind of think about where you are in life, right? And I did this because being in management, Jelly, there are certain things that you end up doing in terms of leadership development and whatever. And I remember we had one way back in 2005 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a coincidence that happened then at the same time, right? So they were talking about values and this and that, and how people became who they are, and remembering, and how you kind of stay in touch with your memories and making sure you preserve those memories, right? And it so happened that, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a website called aki.com.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So aki.com was up and running at the time, and Bev Clark, right? I didn't know Bev Clark at school.
Mm-hmm.
But she's the one who reached out to me on aki.com. And then we met a few other people. You remember the late, great Lincoln Brown, Dante?
Yeah.
Right? We met Lincoln Brown.
Anki.
Anki Panky, right? Sharon Rose and Donna Peters. Who else was there? Steve Greer. If you remember Steve Greer, used to play cricket as well.
Steve Greer?
Greer, yeah.
Yeah, I know you talk, yeah.
So Bev kind of inspired us to kind of come together and say, why not form a thing? And I'm like, man, this is like, wow, because I just went through a situation where I realized that I should kind of pay attention to where I've been and see what I can do to reach back. And of course, Meadowbrook did it for me, because when we were at school, we, like we established earlier, we didn't have, as they would say in Jamaica, we didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
But Meadowbrook provided it, because you remember that little soup kitchen, Dante? We used to have it on the back. I don't know if you remember it, Prince.
Yes, son.
Oh yeah, I was a regular in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody
You
now
know?
know. Nobody now
Nobody knew about it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I felt like, and I have a love for youth, kids in general. One of my soft spots is kids, really.
Kids.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys who will steal your baby.
Mm-hmm.
But it's natural, right, for me to want to do that. And I say to people, if Meadowbrook didn't have a past students association, if, God forbid, the school wouldn't exist again tomorrow, I think I would turn my attention to another school, because it's still kids. Absolutely. It's still kids, right? So I've been doing it consistently since 2005, and I would never stop.
Yeah.
Well, the question then, Wayne, we put it another way, is like, how we duplicate your attitude and how we package it and make people want to give back like you. It's like, is there something else we could be doing or should be doing where I'm going to make it, and everybody now going to motivate it like you?
Forget.
No.
Yeah. So, we'll get more people. This is the CRD I reach finance. We'll get people.
So I think,
yeah, go ahead.
So here's what I think, right? And this is not easy to do. It's easier to say, but not easier to do. So when, and you know how people are, humans, Jamaicans more so than others, right? If you create something that is exciting, you create something that people want to be a part of, they will become a part of it. It's that simple. Create something that people want to be a part of. It's no different from when you open up
It's like we're winning in the 80s.
Exactly. That's one thing, right? But let me use an example that's nothing to do with school. If you open a club, a nightclub, and it's buzzing, right? It's the rage. Everybody knows. People will come there. People want to come, even just by hearing about it. They want to come because they want to have that experience, right? And if you give them a good experience, they're going to come back. It's the same kind of thing. It's like the endorphins in your head are satisfied based on this thing that you did. So what is it that we can create that would make people want to come to this? You got to put the honey out there to attract the beers, right? So we have to kind of sit down and figure out what that thing looks like. It's not as simple, here's a nice silver bullet, let's just fire it. We have to sit down and plan that. What is that thing? But I think we have to create a space create something that will make people interested in being a part of it. All right. And I know that sounds quite rather abstract.
No, it's not.
But
It's not in a way. It's not, And
Mhm.
this conversation we have on the podcast is a start, and it's a good start because it create for use and the word we use a lot of buzz when man interesting, and I say, okay, the mere Meadowbrook. It's a good start, but this is not it. This is not it in terms of that. I understand exactly. I never thought upon that. I never thought. But more you what you think about this, Dante. What you think can be done for duplicate people like you and Wayne? Because I not leave you out. You give back a whole heap to the school.
Yeah, man.
If I may say to you, I not leave you out at all. So it's not like me just a big, but through a Wayne over this, I know me I say make sure people know say Wayne the significance of a Wayne though. But what your thoughts on the question me ask you, Dante? Me have a thought in terms of say what can be done in an abstract way to work. But go ahead, Dante.
And I think what Wayne was saying, what Wayne said, and I've said it before, that it's not any single thing that we are going to do to cause people to want to give back. But as I've said before, Jelly, what you're doing is I think one of the pillars, allowing persons to rekindle that pride that them have in attending Meadowbrook. But giving back is something, because we may touch a student that later on will feel that they want to give back. But as Wayne is saying, is that we have to create something that people want to be a part of. Some of the other schools have their traditions, the sporting tradition and all of those things that, the people just want to identify with that. Yeah. And that is their thing. But we need to do something to create.
Yeah, and I don't know what
our thing. Our thing that is exciting and persons want to be a part of. I think what happened is that after the 80s, there wasn't a lot of spirit.
No,
there weren't a lot of things that caused persons.
I think we're peaking at the 80s, and after the 80s, the peak. Yeah. So it's like
And if you notice, even though we talk about peak in the 80s and all of these things, I can tell you, I'm in touch with some of the people from the 60s, the 70s, and all of these things. And we might think that it's our school. Them think of for them school.
No, but But remember, the people who come before we Dante, after the school that was sandpan, and they saw the growth. The point I make by peaking is that after the 1980s, it's like Meadowbrook flattened off.
Exactly. Yeah.
It flattened off in a way. There was something. But me have a thought on this way. And this week, I think about it, and I don't know. Like you, me think about it in a certain way. Like me, I say, I'm going to use the example of your example about your trip to Green Grotto, right? No, I use that because I was going to use a different example, but I can use that as an example because you're what I think we need, right? If you go anywhere now and you ask the direction, just like the man tell you around the corner. The best thing a man can do for you, you ask the direction, is him say, let me show you where, and him carry and show you.
Yes.
If you go in a supermarket or you go in a hardware store and a man say, you ask for the part there, and the man going to say round the corner and look this up. It's a different thing than the man just come and say, boy, come, let me show you where there and take it up off of the shelf and give you. If the man carry you, so if I'm telling you, say, wait, say, I just round the corner, him just say, come and show you. Trust
different
me.
Vibe,
yeah, and that's the missing link, I think, Because all the people want to give back, Dante and Wayne. Yeah. Especially with this conversation and people are here, that man will come back and say, where we can do, but guess what? There is no one place a man have the confidence to say, right, him can't call a place and the man say, let me show you where you can go gay or what you need to do. Not just tell the man to go call the school or to call this or do that. Let me show you how. And that no exists. That's all I say. I'm going to throw the idea now, the abstract in a way. You follow me? I say to you, because something I think about it, it's a big difference. When somebody go up on a website or say there's a clicker, no man, you want a select person or institution or whatever, and the person knows say that I go to place, and him call a place and the man I say, let me show you a green grotto there.
Yep.
Let me show you where it is. Him want to give back from Meadowbrook, you say, okay, let me show you. You know, I tell him, I say, boy, I'm going to do, I'm going to sign up on a website there, I'm do this, I do that, Dante. The moment a man you capture a man and ready for gay, the answer is supposed to be, not go join a website or join this. Let me show you. Let me take the money from you and show you where I put. Where money I go? That are the missing link. That are the missing link. That I'm not throw it
So
out
let me
there
ask you a
man.
question there. So based on what you just said there, Jelly, and it kind of brings a question to my mind. So I'm thinking about something like, you remember JPS Sports Club, right?
Yeah.
I think even telephone company had one at some point. But for some reason, I recall back in the day that JPS Sports Club was a place that attracted people who didn't even work at JPS. A lot of people wanted to go to JPS Sports Club for whatever reason. If it's just to sit down and have a drink, if it was sit down and have a fet, whatever it is. But it seemed to have that draw. Now, if we were able to create, and I say if we were, this sounds like a dream, but it's not necessarily my dream because I know that others have actually thought about this, right? But I don't know to what extent. But if we had something like a Meadowbrook High School past students sports club, and we kind of set the parameters and set the boundaries and set the intent is going to be most important in that kind of thing because you're not just setting it up so you can go sit down and play some domino and have fun. You're setting up for a specific reason. You have to be very intentional about it, right? And if we're able to create something like that, and to your point, Jelly, the place to be, the place to go, that changes the whole narrative, you know.
Yeah, man. That's the point I make. And that's a good idea, Wayne. Even exactly. There's one place and a man will say, okay, wait, you want to do something for Meadowbrook? A man now guess on one time say, no man, go there, sir. Them not gonna tell you this around the corner. Them not gonna tell you what to do and show you what to do.
Yep.
You follow me, I say, Dante. You
Absolutely.
follow me, I say.
And when you do that sort of thing too, you create something sustainable because it's a difference. If you tell a man, say, listen, you come down here and buy a beer, whatever the price for a bottle of beer is, and you know that you're supporting Meadowbrook by doing that. It's easier than saying, give me $1,000 for Meadowbrook.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And I don't know what that would entail, because the online world make it easier for the certain things. You follow me, I say, but it's something where I think we can, as I say, I talk where I talk, and everything begins that conversation. Everything begins that conversation.
You know what? That's how it is, you know. You can talk about a dream, but dreams do become reality. Dreams can't become reality without, deliberate action. So if it's a matter of creating a group of people who feel that, you know what, we can kind of talk about this and come up with a plan to actually make it a reality, then that's kind of where I think it starts, right? Do you like the idea? Then let's work on how we can make it a reality.
The worst thing I can know, I'm going to a supermarket or I'm going to some store, and you ask someone with the plot there, and the man tell you, go down this, and you go in and look and you not see it. When you go in some store, carry you go and take it up and say, see it, that are the mindset we want. That me say, Wayne, I'm going to use your green grotto. You can't call the project the green grotto.
The green grotto
if the man said to Wayne, Dante, let me show you a green grotto there. When I reach a green grotto, you follow me? I said, if we need to ask someone,
if the man said, just round the road and you walk and I walk for a couple of hours.
At that time, no, you understand me? I said, at that time, with most Meadowbrook thing, the man I said, just go do this and just go do that. And you walk, and you say, it's too frustrating. You gone back, you turn back. You're not going to reach your destination, Wayne. That's the point I make.
Absolutely.
If the man said to you, say, boy, let me show you, and give a drive go green gutter, you'll reach your destination, Wayne.
Yeah, man, you're right. It needs to be clearly defined.
Exactly, Wayne.
Definitely.
Exactly. And that doing, I mean, I blame nobody. This is not for blame nobody, Wayne, because you have done human work. Dante have done human work. But me I say, you need to take to a level where a man knows, say, guess what? This are the institution or this are the place a man I'm going to show you. Not tell you what to do. I'm going to do it for you in a sense. I say, come, you have $1,000 figure, $1 million figure, come. We know where to go. We know which part of Meadowbrook we need it right now.
Yep.
You follow me? And then me I think about it. And at this week, me I think about it and I say, Oh, me I go make a man understand what me I try to say. And Wayne give me the perfect story, Green Gutter. So thank you, Wayne.
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
Oh, everything that you're saying makes sense, you know. And truth be told, I've never thought about it in that way. You know, cause we're doing a whole heap of things and we've been trying to get more and more people involved and, you know,
Yeah.
with limited success, to be honest.
Mhm.
But truth be told, you know, if we do it in a more practical way, if we look at it more practical
Yeah,
and
no, you're
say,
right, Dante. You're
yeah,
right. You give them, you create something that people
yeah,
will like to be at, like to see,
mm,
like to be a part of, then they'll be a part of it.
Yeah, man.
But
Yeah, man.
trying to get them to come to something that is
mm,
a concept, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
don't worry.
We're,
You're right.
Mm.
we're almost there, though. Trust me. We're almost there. I'm going to talk about this
Mm,
concept and more and more. And in time, here, I call the name, Wayne. I mean, I get
mm,
ribbit feet.
mm,
The Green Grotto
mm.
concept. Green's. We don't know why,
Yeah.
because we never reach the Green Grotto because the man they just around the corner. We don't know that.
Mm,
We don't want a
no,
man.
you're right.
Wait, if a man here we are talk tonight now and take up the phone and call somebody tomorrow in Meadowbrook and say I have $1 million for gay.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
They don't know what to do.
Don't know what
Mm-hmm.
to do with it or
Me I
who to
tell you,
give or
a man might don't
yeah.
want to get it and I say, me like Meadowbrook here, me like when me here and this and that, you know. We might first thing, he may know for call. He might call the
Yeah,
principal, and the principal I say, but me don't know if whatever I do the money. If, 'cause I just say everything have to be above board and all them thing there, you know. But I just,
definitely.
you follow me, I say to you, so I just a concept. I'm glad. But anyway, Win, as I say, I'm glad me get a chance to big you up a certain way because you have done, as I rightly say, I was in witness protection. I'm gonna just clear that up. And the prison me today.
Witness protection.
It was, it was self-report witness protection where me did just a lie
Yeah,
low
yeah.
for 20 odd years.
Yeah.
And right, I'm come out
Yeah.
last year and said, but there again, for talk up my
Yeah.
mouth and big up my mouth. So, when
Mhm.
and Dante hold it down and spread it around a certain way, big. Because a Dante, I'm not going to say this here now, in front of Jan Wayne, a Dante and Facey inspire me to come start back them conversation. Yeah. I mean, now I stop
Yeah.
saying Dante
Yeah.
because when we go down in 2016 for the old lady funeral and Dante, Facey called me and said, boy, them have a thing for me. I mean, I said, really? Come I think said them forget about that. But come I think about it too, Dante, and I said, boy, our memories of Meadowbrook, them great years there, come like that, I'm going to a black hole. And the fact that,
Yeah.
remember it and start, I'm come back up and write my book, and then I think about it, and I say, let me try this podcast, yeah. And as I say all the while, because my intention was just to talk to the man who play cricket and football. So by knowing a damn team, I don't run through the team them already, you know. I run out
Yeah,
of
man.
people. And that now I know, because I will if a man come give them story.
It
Yeah, but-
evolved to something much bigger than what you
Bigger
thought.
than that.
Yeah.
Much bigger than what you thought.
Yeah, man. And we can make it work for we. We talk big for the school, man. Big for the school.
Yeah.
Long after we gone, we leave a legacy.
That's true.
Long
I know
after-
the one thing I'd love to see though, I really love to see, and you kind of mentioned, people like Dante, and I mean, it's not pandering. Dante knows what Dante has done. I mean, dude, really big man in the whole thing, But you have a group of men who have a certain commitment to this thing that is just unprecedented, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dante, Minot, Facey,
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Right.
Shelly,
Right. Them man-
like you have these guys, but we need to kind of, I don't know, you can get tired, People can get tired because you're trying and you're trying and you're trying, and you can have differences in opinion on how to get to a certain thing, and that's expected, right? But the re-engagement of these guys with the additional support, I think it will actually work wonders
No,
because their
definitely,
hearts are in
definitely.
the right places.
No,
You know what I'm
man,
saying?
definitely. I agree
True.
with you. I agree with you.
True.
And trust me, you can't tell faces him I get tired,
Yeah,
But I
and
tell
let's
him
not forget CRD because CRD is the
No,
biggest medical
when you listen
cheerleader.
him, I say, we not this him out. Tell him I can't tell that Meadowbrook.
Can be, you know
Or
what I'm
mine
saying?
not for that matter. You see me, I said to you, like, but I just say, we want to take it to our next level. I'm glad we have them conversations
Definitely.
and we can flesh it out away. I mean, I say,
We have the minds for it.
Yeah,
we have
man,
the
yeah, man,
minds
yeah,
for
man.
it,
We
you know? And you have people like you have two CRD Franklin and the thing done.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
You have Kerry, you've got Nadine, you've got
man.
like there's so many of us who are
Yeah, man,
willing to do
but-
it.
but-
Sharo and
Yeah,
they're
man,
doing
all
their
for
thing.
people,
You know what I'm
you
saying?
know all of them, you know them more than me, exactly. But guess what?
Mhm.
We need a green grotto. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's all I'm going to call it. I go forward, Dante. When
Let's
you're,
make it happen.
when Jelly
The
say green
green
grotto,
grotto.
they know me I talk about, man. A man not for
Yeah,
guess.
man.
A man not for wonder when I go do if I have $1 million for give me that broke, man. You not say, you got to show
Sure.
him when I go do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I tell him if I go sign up, I go talk to the principal. I say, no, man, come. We have this
Here's the
fully
plan.
automated, and I go show you where I go do with the money and which part of the money I go spend. That's how I say.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's how I look on it,
Yeah.
man. That's the way, and that me say is a way to make it easier for all of the alumni association them way. That's what I say.
Mm-hmm.
That but if you take over an alum association or the mean one to do for so long is a way to make it more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
wherever this green grotto is, you know, it have to work with you know, Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
It have to work with you
Definitely.
know. It's me I said it have to work with all of the alumni who exist, you know, and any more alumni want to come on. But the green
Mm-hmm.
grotto are the honey man. The green grotto are the place a man go and do say, yeah. And
Yes.
funny name green to it, Dante. A part of
Mhm.
the
I
school.
know, eh? The medical green.
Meadowbrook color same
Yeah,
way.
yeah, that, exactly.
What could I say? We might say the green and blue grotto.
Yeah, exactly. We can call it that. You can- I don't mix it up with the bread or use to call a country and call it grotto. No.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, man, no. So I'm glad me get that out of the way, Wayne. I'm glad me ask you when you start because I'm very impressed. I tell you, you hold it down. People like you and Dante and all of the members them. And I can't remember all of them names. But hold down the alum and shine the light for all these years. We want to take it to our next level now. I see me I look on it. I see me I look on it.
Absolutely.
And you know what I want to say before we come off of this topic, yeah? You know, I can say, you know, I been around and been doing some stuff, but truthfully, and I said it at the start of the thing, man like Wayne, truthfully, has been an inspiration to me in terms of, you know, I mean, I've always wanted to give back, but, you know, the way Wayne is organized and put his thoughts and together, you know, I have during my tenure as in leadership, you know, within the PSA, I can say I learned a lot from Wayne, you know.
Yeah, I want to ask
Yeah,
Wayne. Let me ask you that
Yes.
question here. Sorry. Go ahead. See, that's something, Wayne. Sorry.
No, I was just giving respect to Dante.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
But let me ask you something, Wayne. I just said before we move off of this topic, yeah. Did you always want to give back for Meadowbrook?
Well, once the consciousness was kind of triggered, you know, I can't say that I was ever thinking about giving back until somebody said, hey, what are you doing? You should be giving back. But then the first thing that you thought about was giving back to Meadowbrook once that was triggered.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because remember, I don't believe during our time there was such a thing as a past students association.
Yeah.
I don't know of it.
No.
You know, there are certain things I actually thought about giving back to my other school before that time, the New Day School.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of seeing a school struggling. It had a lot of memories and all these things about it because it was a pretty decent little school. And I saw it falling apart, right? I'm like, damn, how can I help them? But you didn't think about Meadowbrook, you know, prior to that, you know, being triggered, right? But since then, yeah.
And you see what you say a
It's
while
been
ago,
hard.
Wayne? You see what you say a while ago now, where you say you don't have past students existed when you leave school. I'm going to tell you, yes, it probably existed, you know, and it did. I'm going to tell you this now. You have some Meadowbrook people you know, probably I think the same way like you did 20, 30 years ago. So no Meadowbrook past students don't exist.
That's right.
So this is highlighting the problem why we need a green and blue grotto me talk about it. It's me talk about Dante. Because all the people around the country, you know, around the world, you know, probably didn't realize
Don't know.
know.
Mm-hmm.
Him going at the store and him don't know if to find the part. And him I say, but we want to give back to the green and blue. Wait there. Him doesn't know.
That's right.
On actively involved, you know, and I assume, say, just like you say, Wayne, you answer the question for yourself, you know. You never even know, say, I tell you, say, I know, say, alumni association always existed. I can't think of it not existing in my time, Wayne.
I actually was a part of an association that was started, I think, in 88, you know. Andrea Kingbird and
Yeah. Keith.
a guy named Bert Samuels
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
those persons were a part of the executive.
Yeah, man.
I was the youngest person in
Mm.
the thing. Actually, that's how I met Andrea Kingbird, and then I ended up a few years after that. We ended up working at the same place. I met her through Meadowbrook Past Students Association.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
didn't know it was there.
Yeah.
I didn't know it
Yeah,
was there
man.
at
But that
all.
Yeah, man.
that's
It
how
was
this I got
there.
fixed. That's how the green got got fixed with. That
Mm,
Yeah, man.
lack of information where man just don't know.
mm.
You follow me?
Let's
Say you
make it
want to get
happen, man.
and you don't know
Let's
what to
make it
tell.
happen.
Yeah, we'll make it happen, man. I just say I leave the thought with you and you share it with the other alumni association them and then me I go share it with some people to think about it and talk. Because there's no monopoly upon information and ideas, you know.
Definitely.
Whoever come up with it and make it work a certain way, we can rally around it and just rally around the green and blue. That's all we talk about. Rallying around the green and blue, yeah. Rally around the green and blue.
Definitely.
But may I ask you the next question, Wayne? What the best learning experience you ever get from Meadowbrook? Or have you gotten from Meadowbrook? Put the question on different. What the best learning experience you get from Meadowbrook?
Wow, that's an interesting one. Best learning experience. So, hmm. So two things I kind of learned from two of my favorite teachers, right? And when I talk about Miss Laidlaw first, the late Mrs. Laidlaw, because I thought about her when I heard the news, the sad news, and then kind of started to reflect back on her and being in the classroom and some of the experiences we had as a classroom and her as a teacher, right? And I remember we were doing English in that same classroom. Remember that classroom that we used to have as the detention class, Dante? We used to jump off the balcony and so that's where we used to do English. And I remember one time she gave us an assignment to write. And I remember this assignment, as bad as the memory is, this one I remember because it's one of the life lessons you learned, right? She asked us to write a summary about Lady Macbeth. If you guys did Macbeth, you remember that Lady Macbeth was the villain in the story, right?
Yeah.
She was the real villain. But people like me, we didn't really do things like homework and spend too much time. We just happened to do well in school without trying to do well, right? And so my summary was 1 page. And I remember one of my classmates, her summary was 11 pages. Her mark was 11%. And mine was something in the 80s. And then I'm thinking about that, right? And I remember Miss Layla talking about, she didn't call any names, but she basically said something like, sometimes enough is all you need. Too much sometimes means nothing. And I think about that and what that truly means and how you apply that in life, you know what I mean? And you see some people striving for more and more and more. And when you talk about the definition of more, at some point you're going to end up with greed, right? It's going to be synonymous to greed at some point. And why? Here we are talking about altruism, you know what I'm saying? And there are people who have way too much and they want to do more and more and more, get more and more. But when is it enough? And you can take that in any direction you want to take it, right? But it's one of the things I learned from Miss Laidlaw. Sometimes you just need to do enough, right? And then you can define enough because it's more satisfying than more. Think about that. Enough is more satisfying than more. Now, Mrs. Nelson she was my other teacher, kind of inspired me to think about how you really relate to people and value friendships. So, again, coming into class and presenting English homework. That time it was English, not Spanish, right? And my friend, he wasn't necessarily doing well in terms of the grades at the time. And I remember Mrs. Nelson took me aside one day and she said to me, "What kind of friend are you?" Do you think you're a good friend? You're not a good friend. Because why would you waste your friend's time at school and then you go home and study and then you come back and get good grades and your friend is failing? Of course, that wasn't really the case. She thought I was studying at home.
Because I get good grades.
Exactly. But the message that she's conveying is that you need to kind of pay attention to what friendship truly means and how you value that and manage that, right? And that is one of those life lessons that have kind of stuck with me, you know? I think about it a lot of times and it's useful to me. So life lessons that you can use every day and pass on to family and friends and whatever. Because you can expand on that, you know. It wasn't necessarily what she said, but that's how you interpret what she said, right?
No, man, I understand exactly what you're saying. It's a profound message you give in a sense. It's like just say,
Definitely.
if I your friend that, you know, and you are get good grade, if I your friend, you need to make him get good grade too.
Absolutely.
As such, I look on him, it can't be a friend and make sure it's not your friend.
Exactly.
And it can't go the other way too, you know, because your friend cannot make you go astray and him know what to do and him not teach you. And him, she right about that, you know. She right about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
say
she's
friend, but
thinking,
not your friend. Your friend supposed to be upside. It's like you know about a deal, you know. I don't make your friend. I'm a friend. I know your friend.
no. And the point that she was there making is that you're wasting his time at school.
Yeah, right, exactly. And she's right about that way. It's like if I'm really a friend, I just say him is, whoever you do man to get good grade, him need to do the same thing, man. That's just
True enough.
I think
True
that's
enough.
a profound message that way. Me support that message 100%. That is a profound message. Yeah. Let me ask another question, Wayne, because I understand that Meadowbrook man tell me, beg me to ask a question, and I'm in your brother class, I'm in a 20 class. Remember Ian Chung?
Yes, man. I remember the twins.
Yeah, Richard and Ian Chung. Ian said, Jelly, you need to ask a question, and him come on. And Ian said, if you ask this, how it make you feel? I bring up back all the Meadowbrook memories after all these years.
It's an interesting feeling. I mean, you're sitting here and throughout the entire conversation, it's a smile on the face. And it's really, I'm actually seeing images in my mind right now, literally. You know, I'm seeing the mango tree. I'm seeing, you remember that man who used to be the caretaker, Mr.
Senior.
Seymour, Senior, right?
Yeah, Bye-bye father, Christopher
seeing
Senior
him.
father. Yeah.
You see? I'm seeing that other man. What was his name? We used to call him Buckram. What was his name? Dante, you remember him? He used to.
The man who used to blow the motor and the attack?
No, is that him we used to call? I don't remember his name. Glasses.
Something like that.
Yeah. I'm seeing those people. You know, I talk about the home economics class earlier. I'm actually seeing that. You know what I'm saying? So these are beautiful memories, you know, and it actually bring about this sense of I don't know, it's almost euphoric when you really think about it, like going back into that and enjoying it all over again, right?
A sense of nostalgia, yeah.
Nostalgia, definitely.
Yeah, man. I can't tell you what going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow you're going to say, you're going to probably link Jelly and say, boy, Jelly, me don't even talk about all of the things. Some more things going to come to you. Some more things going to come up. No, that you start talk about it.
I leave a bigger smile on the face, exactly.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And it actually works better when you're drinking a glass of wine too, right?
Yeah. Go back to the conversation there. Because you don't want to me a while ago when you did that talk and you talk something serious, you know. I remember I said, boy, a fat boy need a fat cane and that's smile for me.
Yeah, man.
And then it's like you laugh because you hear Mr. Tapa say it.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. And the point is, you know, Wayne, you come in them conversation, you know, I think you can bring that. I remember that, you know. And just the conversation, you know, it come up in a way.
Conversation, it comes right back out.
Yeah, man. Because even information about Green Grotto, I say, I never come and think, boy, that's a part of the conversation. And it turn out to be a profoundly big part of the
Exactly.
conversation because we use that as a lesson to move forward certain ways. So yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, man, yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, man, yeah. But we there almost half for 2 hours in a win. Believe it or not, come like say, I don't know,
It's
I
like
tell you.
nothing.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like nothing for sure.
yeah, yeah, man. All right, me ask you another question, Wayne. Me ask you another question before we kind of start look for wrapping it up. What message do you give to existing students or future students or staff member or hear them conversation 5, 10 years down the road? What message do you get to them?
Mm. Well, if we start with the staff, I mean, they might not be the staff members who were there during the time we were there, but as staff members, they need to recognize the value that we actually place on them as students. I'm pretty sure students at school puts value on them, even though you might have a few odd ones who might make them feel differently, but we value teachers. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we're restarting this year as past students from Canada is a teacher recognition thing, right? You remember that, Dante, just before COVID, we had to kind of crash it, but we're definitely starting again. As a matter of fact, I just sent a message to the principal, asking him if he needs help with the selection process.
And by
But to
the way,
recognize,
Wayne, you know Mrs. Nelson live in Canada though?
you know what? I learned that through listening to your podcast, and I meant to reach out to figure out if it was appropriate to reach out to her. But I think maybe it would be good to send me her contact.
No, I will talk to her and let her know. Say I want to reach out to her.
Yeah, do that first. Definitely.
Definitely.
It's like
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, just let her know it's one of the few students.
Yeah,
I
went to her one.
Definitely.
I went text her as I finish it tonight. I went text her and said, "Boy, a student was bigging her up somewhat. Him live in Canada, and I went and he want have a them want to talk to. Yeah, man. I went to that way. I went to that definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That would be good. But I think it would be good for teachers to recognize that, and they are a part of the memory. They're a part of creating these memories, because every time you talk about Meadowbrook memories, you can't really do it without talking about the teachers, right? Because they're a part of the whole thing, whether or not, they used to attend Meadowbrook themselves or not. They were part of the institution. And so they need to hold their heads up and know that they're probably inspiring more students than not, and they're doing a great job. Without them, there's no school.
Yeah. Which is
No,
one of the things I like about this podcast. It's inclusive. It includes everybody.
Yeah, man.
Everybody.
Not the students, everybody, man.
Students, teachers, everybody, you know.
Man. If Pekka did the room, I forget an interview with Pekka.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
If Barnes and if Reds is about to have to talk to Reds, that's certainly.
Yes,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Because what I want from perspective, exactly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's right. And then for the existing students, I don't know. I mean,
our future students,
I think what I would say,
students who didn't never start Meadowbrook yet, yeah.
Yeah, I would say, think about creating your own memories, and that's pretty profound the way I'm positioning that. What memory do you want to create for yourself? What is the way? How do you want people to remember you? And this legacy that you hear us talking about, you have an opportunity to be deliberate in creating that legacy that you want to leave. So here you are in the institution that we're here talking about. What have you done? What can you do? How do you do it? Those are things that you can figure out as students, right? If you don't know the answer, there's a past students group that you can reach out and talk to, right? But think about how to make yourself the best version of yourself, and how you can actually contribute to creating those memories, those good memories, and that legacy that is so important to every human being.
Yeah.
So that would be the message I would want to convey to those students.
Yeah. All right. So the second to last question, Wayne, before I ask him the last question. Well, it's not really a question. It's just, I may ask Dante first and then we'll come back to you, Wayne. It's like the same thing. Is there any question or any topic where you think we could have bring up with Wayne when we never bring up at all? The floor is yours. Anything where you want to talk about where you think we could have talked about with Wayne I didn't bring up?
No, because one of the things that I like to ask, especially somebody like Wayne, is, how does it make you feel, giving back? And I think that came out in the in the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm good. You
Yeah,
know.
Yeah.
And the same thing apply to you, Wayne. Is there any topic or anything where you think I could have mentioned? Any teacher I miss out, any friend where I miss out you
Yeah.
want to talk about, I didn't ask at all about because.
Actually, I'll probably kind of take it at different, to a different, maybe just a different angle. So, and I think Dante, you would understand this pretty. So, as people who are active in the Past Students Association, we're always curious about why it is that people are not drawn to participating in the Past Students groups, right? So that's one of the questions I would want to ask people. And then the second thing is, if there was anything about your life at Meadowbrook that you could change, or anything about this institution itself that you could change, what would that be? That particular answer, I think, would be useful even for us, right? And you can see where that goes, right? So what is it that you feel was unpleasant in your experience at Meadowbrook? What is that one thing you would change? I think I would be interested in hearing the answers to that question.
Yeah, that's a good question, Wayne. Let me try and answer that question. That's a really good question. What would I change in terms of what was unpleasant and what would I change? The unpleasantness, I can't remember any unpleasantness at all. More than one time a girl dressed me down and that was, but dressed me down because me that tractor.
And it could be those unpleasant experiences, but it's also about the school itself,
Yeah,
right?
no, right.
What is it that Mero did or didn't do,
Right, right. No.
See a girl dress you down, eh?
Yeah. Because I'm a more Dante. I'm a right. Yeah. You know, fourth farm. Let me say, I can't. That's a real good question, Wayne. And we added to my repertoire, I guess. What would you change if we could have go back and or when we go back and go Meadowbrook? I would go back and go Meadowbrook again. Is there anything that change? Would I make the experience better?
Right.
That's really how I put
That's
it in
right.
a way. I may say,
Exactly.
I understand. And that's a good question. That's a good question. We have to reflect on that. I think that's really. Dante, you have any thoughts on that?
No, I've had that till list.
Yeah, no, that.
Yeah,
I had that don't win. It's good talk that because I make a note that because it's there. Yeah. That's one of them questions. And you ask a question, Wayne. You have any thoughts on it?
Well, for me, really, the and maybe this is somewhat of a biased perspective, but I think having that whole focus from the beginning on really the value of participation post Meadowbrook, I think that's something that I think the school itself, if there was anything I would change if I was a part of the school, is to make sure that that's a part of what you kind of inculcate in students as they come in. Right? It's kind of like that KC thing, we talk about them and we make fun of them, but they do a great job of that.
School spirit, yeah?
School spirit, absolutely.
It's almost like,
absolutely.
I like that. It's almost like it's part of the curriculum when a man come and Meadowbrook.
Most absolutely.
It's like from first to fifth form, Dante, like you have a one class every week. Where you talk about, you talk about the man who give back to Meadowbrook, you talk about the man, like what we talk about here now. You talk about the members of Meadowbrook, and you talk about how the man give back to the school. That's it now, man, when man go to school. That's a great idea, Wayne. I like that.
Yeah.
Where you change if you go back to school, if you're going back to school, if you're going back to Meadowbrook, yeah. I like that question, Wayne. I like the answer too. I like the question, I like the answer. Everybody will have a different thought about it.
People have different.
It sounds simple, but it's
a profound question.
It's imperative. It's imperative for the sustainable development of the school. As we see, the schools can't survive or develop considerably based on just the monies that they get from the ministry.
That's right.
And it's the vibrant past students associations that are making the difference.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna put I'll put it more a different way, Dante. I mean, a brother from Excelsior talked about it recently. I'm gonna say a time I come when if we not take charge of the school is gonna lock down because the government not going to have money.
No,
definitely. Yeah.
And
And
not too
at that
far from that,
point,
not too far from that.
kind of different.
No.
But at that point,
Unless
what
we,
happens with the garden, Your
oh yeah,
garden is dead at that point. When I talk about the garden, I'm talking about Jamaica.
yeah. Well, in a sense, yes. You're
Mhm.
right. It's the same thing happens to Jamaica than Wayne. If we not do
Mm-hmm.
it, same thing. But if
Definitely.
we look on the school, I say when the money run out, because the government, I would know governments worldwide have wasted it because there's no accountability. I mean, I forget involved in the politics like that. That's the reality of that.
Yeah.
No matter which side, P or
Doesn't
J
matter
or
which side.
red or blue.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so no matter which one of them. When the
That's
money run
right.
out, if the people them responsible of the school and institution and the country like if we in a sense, we have to take over back a place,
Yeah,
We have to
man.
take it over and hold it
Let's take
accountable
it
and I say, and we're up on the right track to talk about it though. But literally,
That's where it starts.
yeah, go ahead, Dante.
Yeah, you know what I like to say when I talk about what we're doing, with the schools and the student development. I say we're doing nation building.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, you're
That's
absolutely
what we're
right.
doing,
Man, yeah.
because it's just
One student at a time. Yeah.
yeah, we're just working on within the era that we have influence.
As a matter of
But
fact,
That's exactly.
it is nation building that we're doing.
As a matter of fact, and I don't know if you listen to Vivian podcast, but that's specifically what him say. Meadowbrook was farm for create humans. We're a nation, we're gonna build Jamaica nation. Meadowbrook was farm explicitly for that, Dante. And that's might have their own objective, but Meadowbrook was that explicit charter for build people who are gonna build Jamaica.
Okay.
If you go, I know if you listen to it, because I know everybody busy and now gonna listen to all of them at the same time. But yeah, that's explicit to what I'm saying. That's what Reverend Henry Ward began to say. Students at Meadowbrook will be responsible for building, and not the exact word, but that's what come out.
Right.
Nation building, man. We create people who can build nations, man. And anyway, what do that now? They have created them. That's why we talk about them conversation and I think about it in a different way. And I say, we have to take charge of our place, man. We'll start with Meadowbrook first, and then Jamaica afterwards. That's how I look back at it. It's just exactly what I look back on it. Exactly what I look on it. But I like that question away. Now add that to my repertoire, Dante, because that's a good question to ask.
Yep.
Because people come up with different answers and all them things. I love that. Anyway, when I ask the last question, everybody know the first question. I'm supposed to know the last question. What made Meadowbrook magical?
Well, Meadowbrook was really more than just a geographical location in Havendale, Meadowbrook area. It's more about the people and the experiences, right? For me, it's really about the experiences. It was beautiful. That's what made it magical for me. Right now, I'm here thinking about the cherry trees, and I don't know if you guys remember, we used to try, or we attempted to do agricultural science at Meadowbrook at one point, and being around the back there looking at banana trees and having those laughs about which one of us is going to become a farmer.
I'm farming. I think when look down upon them down there, but no, I'm not a farmer, no.
But I'm a farmer, so it became a big joke. It's like, okay, we're at agricultural science. Which one of you guys are going to become the farmer? And then you start looking at your fellow classmates and making fun about the guy who fits the farmer profile the most. And and we're schoolboys. Everything became a joke. But that made it great, When you think about it, you're at home, and a lot of kids would rather be home. For me, you want to be at school because you want to be among the people at school. You want to be among your friends, and it was just awesome. The feeling you get, and like I said, sharing and laughing and teasing and be teased, whatever it is. It was amazing. It was awesome.
Can't wait for Monday morning or when someone.
Yeah, absolutely. Even simple things, Dante, like after, remember them Friday nights after school and the sugar buns on the canteen. Even stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Talk about putting, what would we used to put in Hassan's muffler? Sand, right?
Sand in our song.
were crazy kids, man. And I remember seeing the kids holding back Pekka card. Man is trying to
Yeah.
rev out and you're holding it back, and it was just fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Wayne, that is true. That is true. Anyway, before we close this out, I always ask, and you can I start with you, Dante. Is there any closing remark?
Well, from me, as usual, a pleasure. Good to hear, Wayne's perspective, as usual. Always have a whole lot of wisdom. And, as you see, a lot of that came out in the conversation. We get new questions to ask. We, insights into how to develop the PSA. So, it's a pleasure, as always.
Yeah, man, the pleasure is mine, Dante. As I said, the best night watchman of the business. So don't worry yourself. And the man thinks that the better the things say the right is a derogatory term that me I say, Dante. Some night watchman and I give them wicked Dante, you come back, you come in the evening, and next day it's like the man go on and make a 50 and 100. Are you that?
Yeah, man.
See that night watchman kind of was, and you go there and say, yeah, you can't stay there, skipper. Me not give my wicket, It's me I said.
Although me skip a mine at I say, boy, them have to stop refer to you as night watchman, cause me and him was opening. Me and him opened the black.
Well, night watchman will a key role here, Dante.
Yeah, we know, man.
Key role, yeah. But I want a man must say that this man is Dante when we call him night watchman.
Nah, man. You know
that anyway. You know that, Dante. You know that. You know that.
Yeah, man.
So, Wayne, any closing remark before I close out this program, yeah?
Well, again, a lot of respect for this initiative. I have a whole heap of respect for this particular initiative. And of course, the people who have come on and shared their thoughts, shared their memories, they've kind of kept it alive for me as well. It was great that you had a man like Dante tonight to kind of share in this conversation. And, I don't know, Dante, you probably heard from me, but similar to the sentiments that you share, I have the same on yours, about you as well, because trust me, people like you, especially when you were running things back home, you know what I'm saying? It's not easy, but you were doing your thing, right? And like I said, with you and the team, the core team coming back, it's going to make a big difference. For all the people that have been a part of this podcast, I'm hoping that if they were interested enough to share in the conversation, they should be interested enough to want to be a part of the next conversation. And you can't be a part of the next conversation unless you stay in touch with it. And what I mean by that is invest yourself in it. Let's make that difference, right? Because that's what it's all about. The conversation is one, but the action is more. So let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it have to take action for change. That take more than conversation. It starts with the conversation, but it
Absolutely.
action. Yeah, it take action.
Definitely.
And I send that information to Mrs. Nelson, and I'm going to share your number with her. And then once I get permission from her, I will let you know. I will let her her number. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
So anyway, gentlemen, I'm going to close this out. Dante, Donovan Thomas, Tegre, as Spanner would I say. And Wayne Swaby, and Wayne never have a nickname because he never play no way sport. He never play sport long enough to have a nickname for him. He Dante.
True.
If you play cricket, Wayne, or any other sport, you have a nickname by now. Trust me.
Probably. No doubt.
When I will get to me, Dante, I'm a part of the crew same way. You see me, I said to you.
Yeah, man.
Welcome.
I'll give you a joke, What people in my neighborhood would refer to me as John Wayne. But that's obviously, it's just affectionately John Wayne because of the character. But outside of home, I've never had a nickname. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm man growing up in the 80s.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
There are reasons for that, Dante. Seriously. It's not like a man wouldn't want to give you a nickname, but they were careful not to.
Careful. Okay. Yeah. I know. I figure.
You know it, right? There you go.
Yes, so as I said, Dante
Mm.
or Donovan Thomas, Wayne Swaby, thank you for coming tonight to spend over to a wonderful Sunday evening. And God bless all the way. And God bless that great school, that 2 Meadowbrook Avenue, put together 40 days ago. And make sure we can have them conversation again and bring back the memories. So God
Yes,
bless.
sir.
God bless you all on. God bless you all the way. And both of you have a good night and a great night, my brother. And I will reach out to know Dante and Wayne about the tribute I want to play to Mrs. Leda. I will tell you no, I want to do it and then. But I like
Sounds
the idea,
good.
Wayne. But I will let you know. I will reach out to know.
Yeah, man.
I'm make help.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thanks for listening to Meadowbrook Memories. And remember to give us all the support and encouragement you can on whatever social media platform you are listening. And special thanks to my production manager, Kyle Prince, who takes care of everything involved in getting the podcast out every week. And without him, this podcast would not be possible. It is his expertise that allows me to do what I love doing every week, having great conversations about Meadowbrook Memories, and he's responsible for everything else. So again, thanks to my production manager, Kyle Prince. So remember to like, share, and subscribe these Meadowbrook Memories podcasts so neither you nor your friends will miss another memorable conversation. Thanks.